Just awaiting some durable goods orders data here for the U.S. just coming through here for December on the month-over-month basis, negative 2.2 versus a 0.8% increase expected on the month-over-month number. If you take out transports for the month, 0.3 to the upside. Non-defense related number there, 0.5 to the upside versus 0.3 expected. Coming up a little bit later, more housing data around 9 o'clock. We'll get that coming through. And then 10 o'clock, the Conference Board's Consumer Confidence Index for January, 105.6 expected on that number. Pretty much sums up what we're expecting as far as economic releases this morning. That's how the overall market is setting up for us here this morning. We were higher, so a little bit of a sell-off. Back to green at least here for the Nasdaq, currently 0.4 to the upside. More DeepSeek related question marks this morning. Nvidia is trying to bounce here. We are seeing a little bit of a recovery after a historic sell-off yesterday. $593 billion worth of Nvidia's market cap gets wiped off the table. I was reading late in the afternoon yesterday, 20 billion, Jensen Huang saw 20 billion of his own net worth go out the door yesterday with that sell-off as well. So 3.5% here currently for Nvidia, trying to lead things as far as AI and tech-related names. Back to the upside this morning, but I still think there's quite a few question marks as far as what this means overall going forward. I've been playing around a little bit more this morning with DeepSeek, and I got to be honest, it's fine, but it's not earth-shattering in my opinion.
The R1, which is supposed to be the similar to O1, which is $20 a month, is free. So it collects market share in that regard. You'd think after losing $30 billion in a day, you'd have something bad to say about DeepSeek, but that wasn't what Jensen said. In fact, he actually called it an excellent AI advancement. So we'll have to see exactly how this all pans out. Lots to talk about today, Brendo. Microsoft in focus, Donald Trump floating the idea they could pick up TikTok. Lots of earnings names, Boeing, Royal Caribbean, General Motors, all reporting with mixed results. So good look and lots to talk about.
Yeah, RGTI, some of the quantum names back to the upside this morning as well. And obviously the bigger picture here as far as what happened yesterday goes, it's more about the efficiency and the way that they built that model and the cost effectiveness that they were able to build that model, raising all kinds of concerns about some of the valuations in this group. But again, lots of questions to be answered, guys, as we get going on what should be a pretty interesting day here after yesterday.
Yeah, I'd say it might be a pretty interesting day. Welcome, everybody. And I don't know, like, is he going to say bad things? Is Jensen going to say bad things when they got like a boatload of Nvidia chips in there and we don't know which ones necessarily? And yeah, it's sort of like that sort of is what it is. And we're probably not going to find out whether they have any H100s in. And I saw in the chat some people are calling it deep fake, but DeepSeek. In reality, price action doesn't lie. I think you read at the open yesterday, there was that like relief rally and then it was just selling off. And even when you gapped up this morning, right into the opening range levels, it just started selling off again. So, you know, if the buyers can come in and break out some resistance, I'm all for it, man. There's a bunch of stocks that look like they have a chance to do that. Palantir could, but the thing about a breakout is if you don't get through resistance, you don't have to take it, and you almost need to be looking the other way. I got Marvell on sites today. Marvell actually worse than Nvidia yesterday by a percentage.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Percent or two.
Broadcom, I think, also.
Them too, yeah.
Nvidia beat its own record there. It for the largest amount of, I guess, capital wiped out of a name yesterday at $600 billion. Wow. Yeah, so I have Rigetti on my mind today because, yeah, I feel that, you know, got hit down. Obviously, we've had some pretty epic runs on this space and in this name alone. And right now, you're just kind of just hovering around, a little bit of a dip buy into there yesterday for those of you that are able to get that in and around that $12 mark. But today, it's looking pretty good. Good close, trying to hold above VWAP. I'm going to be trying to buy some dips. I'm writing down the 200 period here at 1250, 1260. So we're already bidding in and around here on Rigetti. I think that's going to be a nice little, you know, rebound day for them. And then we just saw NNE, SMR today. Again, some of these names just yesterday, whoops, all the way to the downside right there, breaking through the 50 period and coming back in. That name's up another 5%. So that's that. And then NNE was just getting some deals done there. I heard some sort of a patent something for NNE, but there it is anyways, up 7%, not much happening with that. So some of the quantum names continue to get back to the upside. ARKQ is the autonomous and robotics ETF. that I found myself in from a while ago. I just wanted to see how that was doing yesterday, because I do think there's opportunities here. We had Raider Trader on. He liked robotics as well, but down into here into $80, $75 mark as a base there. So I think there's going to be some other names, but Nvidia, again, trading like it's 9:30. Basically, lots of liquidity here. So if something lines up for Nvidia, I think you can play it and take it and trade it right here in the pre-market today. I don't think there's too much worry. But yesterday's volume was insane on this name. 700 plus million on a $120 name was insane. I wrote down fading today for Nvidia. So I don't know. I kind of like nice little hop up 3%. It's good. You know, you had a nice base there yesterday. But like, I still think there's some sort of damage here just due to DeepSeek. And until we hear more. Thanks, Randy. Until we hear more from Jensen and whatnot. Remember, Nvidia always was touting that their software game was strong. You know, so if that is the case, then obviously the CapEx spending on some of the hardware will come down, but they'll still have that service revenue, hopefully, from the software. Just like Tesla. Yeah. You know, they did some different things with full self-drive. They were charging, then it's a monthly fee and things like that. So I think Apple's done the same thing. I think Nvidia, although obviously trading at a PE of 40 and change, it's not going to be great for the valuation side, but it's trying to rebound up 4% today.
The forward's only 26.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, okay, that's not
which
too bad.
isn't that bad. And
the forward could change because of all this spending stuff.
Exactly. That's the rub right there. Is like that forward PE could be subject to change if you get any spending changes in the next couple of quarters in there. But sort of as you mentioned, we'll get to all of these bigger names out there as well. But the other side of the spend is, well, in the AI space anyways, is these power names like Vistra, GV. Like they're all gapping higher, but not really putting that much of a dent, kind of like Nvidia. Like you're not really anywhere near like the opening ranges, like the 150 on Vistra. Is looking interesting. Verona was another over 20%. Like Vernova, they were all like 20% down. This one is a little bit different in that it's actually above the opening range. Like that's spicy if it can hold the 350. Unlike Nvidia, unfortunately, when you look at the volume on these in the pre-market, they are normal pre-market volumes. So Nvidia does stand out today in terms of just sort of trading normal. But yeah, like Vernova looking at least a little bit more interesting than Vistra, given the fact that it's able to hold this 50 period. And apparently this SLXN, BioMotion something or another, just went to the dollar level. So maybe we've got a 100% mover on our hands here. Should be a spicy one. It looks like they reported preclinical data for SIL-204 showing significant tumor reduction in pancreatic cancer models. So that's obviously a positive story.
SLXN.
Go get them. Through the dollar. This one's probably worth watching.
Get it, SLXN. No, yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing. That's why, honestly, we'll be showing you guys many names throughout the day. So keep it in the chat. Get going. Yeah, there it is. Tisha's on it all over the chat. Make sure you do like and subscribe right now and be part of our community. Again, huge day for us yesterday. We want to thank everybody for supporting. And then yesterday's earnings after hours.
Well, there was really nothing much. We had Nucor, but that wasn't that big of a move. This morning earnings were.
Yeah, Royal Caribbean.
I mean, Royal Caribbean's up, but GM flat, Boeing flat, which is good because they're losing money. So if they're not down, it's probably a good thing for them. But the earnings are huge. Tonight you get Starbucks, and then tomorrow's where it's at, right? Like, you know, that's where the Super Bowl starts. Although some people call Nvidia the Super Bowl of earnings. We'll just call it like I don't want to call it the champion.
Well, this is one of 8 huge weeks in a year because you have basically there's 2 major tech earnings, 2 major earnings weeks per quarter.
Yeah.
So a quarter is 4 times 2. Yeah, 8. That's right. So, okay, let's go back over to the desk right here, and we have the watch list. Scan it, grab eSignal, grab all of that stuff. Get all the links in our description. But if you haven't subscribed to the watch list, make sure you do that ASAP because it's part of our daily rundown.
Much, first of all, for everyone who came by yesterday. Huge day, numbers-wise. Lots of excitement in the market. So if you haven't done so yet, hit the subscribe button as well. Oh, by the way, yes, we get a whole ton of the biggest names in tech coming through with earnings this week. But remember, Fed Chair Powell is going to make a visit as well coming up tomorrow afternoon. The 2-day Fed meeting gets underway this morning. I had to go out to May. So this is current, obviously. So this is May. You got to go that far in advance before you see even, you know, a 50-50 shot at the first cut of the year. I mean, this is still kind of heavily towards a hold at this point. But if you add these two together, it's basically 50-50, a coin flip on whether or not we get a cut in May. This is June. Then you start to see a little bit more weighting towards a 25 basis point cut. Both March, heavily on the no side. That's January. So we're not going to get anything tomorrow, but going to be interesting as to how he skirts all the questions around, you know, what's to come the remainder of this year again.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to build on. I want to hear what he has to say about tariffs, right? Because it's a kind of the wild card that we don't really know how it's going to affect inflation. I feel like, I don't know, I don't want to say we beat inflation, but it's under control. What could really kind of vary that is the tariffs that could, you know, markedly increase the price of lots of goods. We were just talking about that yesterday on the How to Trade show, but the imports coming in from Canada, the auto parts, it could markedly increase the cost for production for GM. Mary Barr commented about that today in GM's report. So I want to see what Jerome Powell has to say. I don't know if he gets too much into the politics that he normally doesn't, but I think this is within his scope of competency here.
And something that at this point, as you were saying, you know, he kind of has to look at because it could be inflationary. And remember, you know, they're talking February, right? And that's right around the corner. I don't know if anyone's looked at a calendar.
Few days.
January's gone already, so there's that too.
Whatever happened to January? Speaking of GM, well, the conference call's on. So when I said it was flat until the conference call started. Now down 4% is GM. And obviously, I don't know, we said this yesterday, any single Fed day it's an event. You tend to see market movement. We get volatility in the afternoon. Like, I'm not going to pretend to tell you that 2 o'clock's fine. There'll be no change. And then, 2:30, you get Powell on the podium and you get some market movement and some trading opportunities. That said, it's all about earnings, baby. It is what it is. And especially after yesterday. You could tell me that we're going to have that kind of a bleed in an entire sector that has had increased valuations. So come on, the guidance is all going to be, is anybody going to be changing guidance is going to be a bigger thing, and are people going to be able to meet expectations? I look at things like ARM, which I bought yesterday, and if these guys, when they report, if they have a disappointment, they're going to get absolutely hammered. At the end of the cycle, stocks like Marvell, with its high valuation, they're going to get, they can get absolutely smoked. You don't even turn a profit. They don't have a PE. If they don't turn a profit or at least have a reasonable forward, this earnings cycle is going to punish them. And then you go to the other names which have been doing absolutely fine. And we got to talk about Meta. I mean, what more can you say about them? This one was probably a hint in the pre-market, but they're the big one. Obviously there's some other big names reporting this week, but yesterday they did a lot of heavy lifting in Meta to get to another fresh all-time high. You got to respect it because the market is flat. Meta's up another 0.8% here today, and it just keeps on going and going and going. This one was kind of the 50-period moving average has been a basically free roll here on Meta the last little bit, and I'm not sure you're going to see it again. I am sure you're not going to see it before earnings.
You know what I was thinking about with all the, okay, so Nvidia is still doing 122. It's still dancing around here. Stocks like Adobe and that, I don't know if I like them as much. I was just going to say, with some of this stuff becoming a little bit cheaper as far as AI is concerned right now, I just worry for some of these, SaaS companies that, it's now becoming easier to build and to possibly compete with some of the models here that they've been building. I mean, Adobe's, I still think it's fine. It's still here at 440 and change. It's just I wonder about some of these names that aren't really catching too much drift back upside there today. Adobe down another 0.85. Some of us, I mean, we're not using Grok. A lot of people aren't using AI right now to generate too many images, I don't think, unless you really know what you're doing. But if it becomes easier and cheaper to do that, I wonder about names like this. I saw Palantir yesterday too, afternoon, really had a huge run into the close. I was actually looking at it when Neil mentioned it right now, and I thought we were down in the low 70s sort of, but no, we had closed pretty nicely there into $75, $76, almost as if yesterday, I guess we didn't necessarily get to the top there, but that was pretty close. Like at, in the after hours there, $76, matching this top of 76.50 or so. This could be a name that wants to go today. Palantir up on them, not bad. I mean, I like the stock, obviously. We've talked about that. It does have its movements. Well, I'm going to get the sticky note out in a couple seconds here, but yeah, pretty wishy-washy yesterday, and then it leveled off before going out, and then 73 and change. Like right now, I'm kind of stuck in the middle, and I'm going to work on the TQQs as well, but if you look at the Nas, whoa, where'd that go? This is my E-Signal chart here. Thank you to E-Signal. You're still kind of, if you go top and then you go bottom, and right now that's middle. So you're kind of just trying to figure itself out. Obviously, we had that huge rally back yesterday off the open and off that low in the pre-market. Nice move. And now we'll wait to see if we can hold some of these levels. The Nasdaq still could easily get back to this 21,000 area, and then we see what happens again. It's not like we weren't here too long ago. I mean, this goes back to mid-December. It's like the Nasdaq had its worst day yesterday in like a month and a half. It's like these things can happen. We could get another flush, big earnings on deck. So for right now, I just think the Nasdaq, it's better to sit on your hands a little bit here and see what winds up happening with these flushes. So yeah, I mean, it's 8:45. Going to be some things happening again today. I'm looking at Rigetti. I'm looking at some of the quantum names. Neil talked about the power names as well. There's lots of space to dip your toes in today, I feel like. It doesn't necessarily have to be the chips.
No, that's the beauty of this market. Like there's
will be, but
I mean, there's obviously big cap tech, and there are the chips, and there's no question we're going to be looking at them. But the other thing you can consider is like maybe some of those. There were like direct related names. I was just looking at Amazon. The Amazon daily chart is hilarious. I'm sorry, but like that, no one gets a kick out of it if you sold the bottom. But it's just an unbelievable looking chart. You don't get to see something like that very often. No, but the names that are directly related to DeepSeek, so like they're going to be in play. I think day 2 you had Holo and JG was another one. This is trying a relief rally after yesterday's, hey, everyone's excited about it, and then it was just a fade for most of the day. I like the fact that it's above prior resistance. This can be worth it, only I'm probably favoring one of the fade pops than anything that got that deep fake bump. Just when I see that kind of a rejection yesterday, it's like, okay, well, if you reject any kind of a resistance level, I want to look for a bit of a mean reversion type play. So there's that, and then there's it was JG was the other one in there. That's not doing as much volume and was kind of like barcoding at this price level before. But yeah, I think Holo would be the one that I'd keep my eyes on. There's a lot to look at today, and whether it's earnings names, whether it's chip names, whether it's big cap tech, whether it's I don't know, like as you said, some of either the quantum or nuclear names. Just make sure that you're trading the one that's moving. Like Rigetti's doing volume and QBTS does nothing. JG's doing nothing, but Holo's doing a little bit of volume. They're just little things like that. Like there's a million places to play, but if you're within a sector, you want to be trading the thing that in that group is going to go. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yep. Yeah.
Quick, just so everyone's aware as well, there's an IPO again today. Not a huge one, but worth noting. It's about 500 million notional. The Smithfield Foods coming to market today. So SFD is the ticker on the Nasdaq. We'll get that at some point today. They priced it low, which is a little bit concerning. It was initially looking for 23 to 27, going to be priced at 20. So we'll see how that plays out today.
Yeah, it's an old company, Brando. Founded in 1936. They deal specifically in pork and pork production. They're headquartered, I should say, at a Smithfield, Virginia. We'll keep an eye on them, obviously. Good look, and nice to see the IPOs are starting to pick up a little bit.
Okay. One here, one there kind of thing. I mean, we were just talking about, a few years back where it seemed like there was 2 or 3 a week at one point. We haven't had that in a long time. So SFD today, guys, on the Nasdaq.
I mean, not as super exciting. They're coming back here to the Nasdaq there. I mean, all we can really do is have a look at the imbalance locator. We've had them generally come out. Is it even? I don't think there's anything even on here.
Late.
Yeah, there's nothing even on here yet. So we'll just have to wait for the interest. I think what Neil was saying before is, you want to find names that actually have some kind of excitement about them. And today might not be that day for that particular name. but it reminds me of a name like Reddit, and I mean, not like Reddit, but the fact that, or an ARM, is that you don't necessarily need to be into a lot of these names straight at, their first sort of excitement day. Like, Reddit here, and look where Reddit is now, 185. Like back in March, this thing was $40. And then it IPO'd, it ripped up to like 70 or 80 in the first couple of days. And then it just tanked into lows, like below its IPO price of $37, $38. Then you can basically wait until you get their first report. So March, April, May, June. So you probably got it. It was probably the jump off day right around here. June, we can look it up, but June 24th or so, they get good earnings, nice little pop. Then you get that fade right back into past support, and then it takes off, and the rest is sort of history. There's many examples of IPOs. We can call up ARM, same kind of thing, that we had that sort of leveling off period. So I would just say no matter what winds up happening with SFD today, it's not FSD.
That'd be way more exciting.
That would be a little more exciting if Tesla spun that one off. But at the end of the day, yeah. I think do your research in it, and if it's a space that you like, isn't it?
Speaking of which,
farming like.
Yeah, I know. I just someone said in the chat, and I looked it up. Yeah, they're a subsidiary of a Chinese company, WH Group, which is a very old company as well. So I mean, yeah, it has been around for a while, but it's weird because like sometimes when it comes to like the day one, I don't know if that makes it better or worse, because a lot of times that makes it better for the shoot to the upside, at least right away. But I don't know who might be buying it when that happens. But yeah, I think you want to chase the volume here. And we'll get a better indication of what that looks like as you get closer to the open. If there's a ton of open interest, I mean, yeah, you go over, you look for the trade. But I'm not anticipating that there will be by any stretch. The upgrades and downgrades look spicy because the name I didn't expect to see is on that board when I grabbed the peak. Let's go to Adara.
It is, yeah, very spicy. I believe the name Neil's referring to is Affirm, which I believe was actually on this side at least a couple of weeks ago. So a return here for Affirm with an upgrade from Compass Point up about 2.4% right now. We have Autodesk getting upgraded by Mizuho. Victoria's Secret getting upgraded here by Barclays, actually up almost 5% this morning. And then we have Oklo with an upgrade from Craig Hallam. So all of these definitely names to watch. On the downgrade side of things, despite a bit of a relief rally for some of its AI peers, AMD actually getting a downgrade here by Melius. It's worth noting Baird actually said that they recommend to buy AMD and Nvidia here. So some mixed sentiment here, of course, in the AI space as people continue to digest the impacts of DeepSeek. We have Eaton getting a downgrade also from Melius here. Melius actually doing all the downgrades today because the next one here is Train Technologies, and last but not least, Vertiv being downgraded once again by Melius. The Vertiv actually up about 2% on the day, guys.
Yeah, Melius wanted to get all their work done and just bugger off for the weekend, I guess, whoever that agency is. Affirm, okay, like that. If it's an upgrade today and it wants to pump it higher, it kind of broke trend recently, so it didn't really expect to see that on the list. You can see here, like it lost that 50 period, like $60 was an inflection point. And now for the last 2 weeks, you've had a seller at 60. At least every time that it's gotten up here, seller at 60, seller at 60, sellers at 60. So if the upgrade gives this one a bump, if we do get a turnaround Tuesday, I think that one, it doesn't set up at like right away off of the open because you're so far away. But hey, if this one's popping into the 60 level, then I'm looking for some kind of a topping tail candle or, like a trend break, something along those lines to try a pullback in Affirm. It won't be top of the mind at 9:30, obviously, but certainly that's a level worth remembering. And the upgrade, it doesn't really ever make me care too much one way or the other, but if it gets it to trade into a key level with some extra volume, then I'm all for it.
I was just writing something down here. We'll spend some money here. I want to thank you.
Yeah.
Big super chat right there. Thank you so much. I've commented on this already. Thank you so much to David Blacklock. This is honestly part of the reasons why we are doing this show. So thank you so much. The $100 is very, very generous. I'm an 80-year-old retired police sergeant from Orlando. I have a modest retirement income from the city. So that's great. Fantastic. Although I know little about day trading. Perfect. Many of us are in that camp. I follow your guidance daily. I've been averaging $1,000 day since January 1st. Well, David, keep doing what you are doing. And that is $1,000 a day on a modest retirement income. I mean, I think you're doing absolutely fantastic with those kind of numbers. I mean, even, you know, if the going gets tough, even lower a little bit of risk, because if you can even average like $254, $500 a day, that's an absolutely fantastic thing to be able to do. So, David, congratulations. Keep pumping those numbers out, man. And, you know, thank you for watching. And it does mean a lot. And you could share all of that. There's my, I don't know what I have that open for. That was, oh, here's my short yesterday on the TQs, by the way. I think it was just a snipping thing that I had open. But anyways, thank you, David. It really does mean a lot. And, you know, again, you're getting a lot of love there in the chat as well. So congratulations on all of that. And look, you're never too old. Maybe you're, sometimes kids may be a little bit too young to be in the stock market, but you're definitely never too old too. You know, learn how to improve your lifestyle and honestly have a little bit of fun and have some, hopefully some passive income on the side due to day trading. And that's to me is what I always talk about on the show, is that I'd much rather see day trading as something like that, where you're sort of doing it on the side, you're comfortable doing it, and you possibly have another source of income as well, because it can be very, very volatile. On that, and again, thank you for that. I just want to bring up Vertiv here, because we had a huge move down on this data center name yesterday. Fell from 155. It was absolutely hot fire. Came right into the 200 period moving average, and now today's getting that little bit of a move higher. So we can see about a holding 99 bucks. That's very, very possible. Okay, our chart just got a hell of a lot scarier there.
There we go.
Yeah, okay, now I'm definitely not buying this stock for sure right now. But that was another name that was on the downgrade side, was it? I think, yeah. So, yes, I would love.
Super hot
it's
fire.
super hot. It's super cold out today, actually.
Ooh.
All of a sudden, it was
Windy
nice, and then it got windy yesterday. We just need a real fireplace, right?
Animation.
I mean, what do you mean? Why do we need an animation?
Yeah, I don't want a fake fireplace.
Do we have got gas in here? It wants to be a gas in here. We put up a little gas fireplace over there.
The lack of ventilation.
Wood stove that we got to keep feeding it. That's the problem. You're going to bring the wood down every day? Okay, well then.
Well, if you're going to do that.
Fine. I start chopping wood around my neighborhood. The city starts coming knocking at the door there. Can't take too many trees down. It's, I mean,
coffee o'clock?
I mean, is it? Yep, definitely.
Definitely.
All right. Thanks, Randy. Anyway, those were some upgrades and downgrades there. Yeah, firm looking good. I'm really impressed with Meta. I mean, I can't wait to see what Meta and Microsoft come up with in the next couple of days. So, all right, let's go back. Oh, there we go. There we go. So Randy already did it. So we've already got a nice. Thank you, Randy, for that.
It just makes me wish that we had a real one, though. It doesn't really help things.
I mean, the thing is, it's like it's too. I don't know. In the summer around here, it gets pretty chilly. We can almost have that fireplace on all the time.
Well, it's weird. Like we have. I don't even use our fireplace. It is what it is.
Our air conditioning is fun.
But yeah, around here it does get a little bit chilly for sure. But hopefully the markets can heat us up one way or another. Let's have a look at the desk.
Real quick, saw somebody mention this early on this morning, but Starbucks actually down a little bit here this morning with the overall market. Coming up tonight after the close, we'll get earnings from SPCE. I mean, if you haven't looked yet in a while, this chart actually looks pretty good.
Not bad.
Middle of December, I guess. Go back to the beginning of the year, even back to $100 here for Starbucks.
Not bad at all. I want to hear more about the unionization issues that's going on in some of their stores, because that could definitely be a headwind. Keep an eye on that. I also want to hear if they have anything to say about automation, specifically robotics. You know, we looked at this on the How to Trade show during the midday, where we saw, you know, several different robotics coming out of China specifically for the coffee industry. So I want to see if there's going to be any talk about that. That could be really interesting for gross margins.
Side note, but kind of a funny story. I was at a like mom and pop coffee shop going back a couple of weekends ago up north, and they had, I've never seen this before. I don't know if you have, but they had a milk frother that was completely automated.
Interesting.
You essentially just put the milk pitcher under the wand, push a button, and it perfect temperature, like every single time. It even like tilted the pitcher like to the perfect angle.
And it can do, the ones that was showing on the midday show, can actually do designs. So you feel like this is going to be a piecemeal basis, not going to be an overnight thing where the barista's replaced, but
it wasn't even Starbucks. That was the whole point. Like
right.
I would expect something like that to pop up at Starbucks. But anyways, let's get a look at the market here.
60.47, guys. That's where we closed out yesterday on the ES March contract. We were well below that. At times, we got all the way down to 59.50, but we were able to close above 6,000. And by extension of that, obviously, we got above that or almost at that 50-point area. The overnight high is 60.73. We're going to use that as resistance, and we're going to use 60.25 if we fail to break that 60.50 area as support.
As always, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you jump down to the description of this video, and top link in the description will get you to the sign up page for the watch list. Super easy. All you need is your email address, and then you get that sent right to your inbox every single day. Has everything you need to know on it. That's moving around in the pre-market and why. Let's talk about some AI related stocks here this morning. Everyone keeping their eye on Nvidia after what happened yesterday. If you missed it, historic market cap loss for Nvidia, pushing $600 billion wiped off the table in this move yesterday. If anyone took the day off yesterday, what a day to miss. 3% right now, better part of 3% right now to the upside. Lots of analysts chiming in this morning with opinions on this.
Yeah, definitely, Brendo. Interesting commentary coming out of Nvidia yesterday, specifically with about DeepSeek. The company's highlighting R1 as what they call an excellent advancement in AI. They're using a new technology called test time scaling to help basically use the chips to their fullest advantage. Nvidia, though, did want to emphasize one specific point, that they believe DeepSeek was using the H800 chip, and so they're saying that their GPUs were fully compliant, countering the claims by an Scale AI CEO Alexander Wang that they had about 50,000 or so H100s. We'll have to see, obviously, what the truth is as the days unfold. Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, this was up more than 5% at one point this morning. We've come off a lot right now, headed back downside down here. Back through 122 or 123 right now for Nvidia, guys. But do we just see maybe an instant price adjustment and this range actually from yesterday end up being, where we trade for the next little while?
Okay, it wouldn't be crazy if we settled down. The prior lows was like 126, and then if you looked at the last, like when it broke away from that range, well, there was 115, 116 into that 125, 126 area. So it's not crazy to think that you could have that kind of a range. That's what you put in yesterday. So I would respect it. I'm looking at 125. 125 isn't the high. 128. I think if you start filling in the gap, that's when you're like, okay, well, Nvidia's on one, and if it can do that and find bids above 128, you don't fight it. You just go for it. But the top of the morning range was the 125. Like that's when the buying off the open, which was a very clean SSR bounce, it's going to be SSR again today. It held a pre-market low and then ripped into the high. It gave you a few bucks and then immediately lost after that underneath 125. So I think as long as it's underneath the 125 level, I'd be looking to fade it, and that's going to be the play for me. I just think the AI play does have some other names in it, one of which, I mean, Marvell, again, we already said, this was down more than Nvidia by a smidgen yesterday, and it had a similar level that was key, only a little bit deeper down, and now it's a pre-market high of 105. So this also prior support, 105. If you're not breaking back above that, then I want to look for continuation fade. So 125 Nvidia, 105 Marvell. The problem with Marvell, it doesn't have a lot of liquidity before the open, and whereas Nvidia does. So Marvell's not tradable for me till after the open.
Thank you to David here for the $5 as well. That is more than the GDP of Swedish land in hours. They export Volvos and supermodels. So thank you, David, for the $2. And Celery too seems to like that as well. So thank you for that. Yeah, look, I have Nvidia written down here as a 126 to 128 area short. It was a monster trade yesterday. Like I said, I think it was my best day of the month. And we had the long and the short yesterday. Both long right off the open and then short once we lost this 123 level. And then we had that all day into the close where it bottomed out, right? So the thing about this, Randy, is if you come up back into this area, I believe it's going to be a short again. So I'm going to be waiting. 125 is a little too early for me. I'm going to wait for 126 to the 128 area to see about building a short. I'm not sure we get to there. I thought we would have been up even a little bit more. We were up pretty, I woke up this morning, was like, oh, okay, nice little rally into 123, 124, but that's been since faded. So we're going to have to wait to see if we hold this 121. That's the 200 period moving average. I actually would rather look short than long today on Nvidia, unless we can get back into some of these lows of 118, 119. That would be an area. But for me, I think just looking at this, if we call up a bigger chart, this 5 minute, right into here, that's what it started it all. If we can get back here, we'll try a short until we're wrong, and that would be 128. So, I think it's a pretty simple, well-structured play. I mean, Nvidia short those tops. If it breaks higher, yeah, we'll get out. I mean, I think that's what it's all about, making plays and sort of sticking your neck out. And I think for Nvidia, if we get a $5 pop, I don't think it's a super risky opportunity to short it. Like I mean, yesterday it worked, fading some of those pops. Yeah, what's up, Jamal? So that same thing as me. So I bought some Nvidia yesterday around lunchtime as well. I think you guys were here when we were talking about it. I think it was 118 and change, whatever. I bought them in Canada, so it's a cheaper. The CDR is cheaper than that. Should I sell it or buy more? I mean, look, we're not financial advisors here, nor is that enough information to give you the right answer. Again, if you woke up and you made a couple $100 on this name and you're happy with it, and that's a decent amount of money, you want to go out, take your family to a nice movie and dinner or something like that, then yeah, treat yourself. But I always think that there's if you put a lot of money in and you come in and you can grab 3 or 4%, I think it's probably worth it for that. If you're trying to build a long-term position, then no, because I think Nvidia, although it's going to be pretty, they don't report for 6 weeks. So until we hear more about this, we don't even know like what they're talking about on the desk. Like we don't know what DeepSeek's even built from. This could be hundreds of thousands of H1. Like I don't know. Or H100. I don't trust any information coming from any of these Chinese startups, Chinese government or anything like that. So I don't, until we really do hear more somehow.
Which we might not.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like if that's a lot of money, then maybe, like if you bought it at 117 and you get a nice gift today, I would say take it, because there's so much uncertainty right now around Nvidia and around the chip space. So I think uncertainty is bad for names, right? We'd rather invest in names that are certain.
Well, that's the thing. Like the market's always trying to be forward-looking. Like I'll candidly say that, like I bought ARM yesterday because I was planning on buying ARM regardless. And I'm like 10% down there. I was waiting for a dip anyways. But if it was a trade, yeah, I would take something off when you get a relief rally. I mean, obviously, a lot of things broke some pretty significant trends yesterday. And that's usually, we see like that 2-3 day rule. So when you get like free money in there, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Now a sector that fared much better yesterday, if we're calling it a sector, was crypto. I think that you can have that in a little bit of a different lens when it's bouncing today. But let's go to the desk, maybe talk a little bit about everybody's favorite coin, and that is Bitcoin, boys, because that 100,000 level held like a champion yesterday.
Downside right now, we're rolling over a little bit, still green on the day, but we're giving some of this back. We were up nearly 2% at the highs, back to 58 right now for IBIT. After, huge rebound into the close yesterday. This thing absolutely took off around 2:30, 3 o'clock. And just ripped into the close. So we'll see what happens here, but I mean, this isn't looking terribly promising right now.
Yeah, at least we're over 100,000.
Yeah.
That's kind of the look here. $700 million was liquidated yesterday in the crypto market within 24 hours. $537 million of that was liquidating long positions. The crypto market as a whole is about $3.5 trillion right now. Lost about a third of that value in about 24 hours. Some analysts, though, out of Rect Capital, he predicts Bitcoin's entering what he calls the second price discovery uptrend, and he predicts within 2 weeks. So hope maybe we break out through that 110,000. You also have other institutional investors who are increasingly seeing now Bitcoin as a traditional asset, not just a speculative inflation hedge. We'll have to see if they put their money where their mouth is and push this thing up 110,000.
I officially have a new favorite analyst firm.
Let's hear it.
Rekt Capital.
R-E-K-T, Brendo. I'm
That's
not making that up.
fantastic.
Yeah.
OpenAI with a new product launch here, introducing ChatGPT Gov or Gov, I guess. OpenAI evaluating expanding ChatGPT Gov to Azure's classified regions. So maybe Microsoft there, guys.
I'm gonna have a quick look, see what Microsoft just, if Microsoft did anything on that. Not a lot. I mean, it's gapped up like pretty much everything else. We're gonna get their earnings tomorrow, but yeah, not much movement on that. You know that all of these big names, they're all in the lab right now. Like, oh goodness, so don't leave the lab until you figured out how we can compete here, which is a good thing. Like I understand from the market standpoint. Okay, fine. Nvidia got smoked, and everyone has it in their long-term accounts, but ultimately, you want competition in this space. It's better for efficiency. It's better for competition. Is good for the world. I think that's just going to light a fire under the big boys, and in the long term, that's going to be a good thing. As far as Bitcoin goes, hey, yesterday I had one trade on IBIT. It was basically like I was looking at this resistance spot like 57.3. Like the second we could hold that, I was playing long, so it held it at VWAP at 10 o'clock-ish, like 10:15 or so. Bounced, couldn't really get past 58, and when I look at it again, we ended up closing right around that range on a ball. We closed a little bit higher, but pulling back and holding that same range. Like it essentially works out to holding just above about a point or just less than a point above 100,000. So that's what I want to defend. It's just that 100,000 area on BTC. There was a nice seed change right at 100K for us to go over under. So we're going to look for like a mean reversion off of those levels. Again, it didn't happen yesterday, but I was kind of thinking that if we're strong enough, Mara would push into resistance here at 20. That would be a short for me. Someone else is selling. You can see like sellers up here the last couple of days. Mara never made that push on the bounce, but if Bitcoin's strong again, maybe it has the juice to get back up there where it's been a sell zone. So that's the crypto name that I'd watch. Just don't know. We're closer to it yesterday at the open than we are today to get to the 20 level. So it's an unlikely probability, but still ready for it, just like yesterday.
Look, I mean, just like yesterday, we traded IBIT, and we wrote down $56 as a bottom. I mean, I have the sticky note right here. It says IBIT 56, and we had that trade. So IBIT came into here, into 56. We got out. We did not. We got upset because we started to get out once it broke through the 200 period moving average. So we had bought it down here at 56.25. We do have some outs in the 70s and 80s. And then I was just like, we didn't even see that top. We got out before then, right there around 3 o'clock when I thought the market was maybe pulling back in. And it didn't do that at all. It actually touched the 200 period and then ripped into the close, which for me, I mean, look, it was a good trade. We made money at the end of the day on it. And we did mark down yesterday $56 for IBIT. Now on today's sticky note, I actually don't have anything written down, and for IBIT anyways, I still like this area, but we're under the 200 period, we're under VWAP, we're under the 50, and we're trending a little bit lower here to start the day. It doesn't mean that I think Bitcoin's going down. I don't. I like Bitcoin. I think it's going to the upside. I'm actually not even going to be writing down any shorts. I don't want to even think about shorting it, at least until we get to the $61 mark up here. So I'm long this name. So when I look at it, I think yesterday's 56, we kind of picked that out because we had all of this for the last 4 or 5 days. Then we had the drop down in the market. So we just sort of zoomed back out there and found levels that I thought could be key. And we wrote down $56 and it turned out fine. So today, again, you're kind of in the middle of this range. A pullback to the 50 period is always fine. We need to let that settle down a little bit here to get more data points to give us a better level. But for me, again, it still kind of looks like 56, maybe 57. And if you bump it up a little bit because you want to get filled, then maybe 57, 50s, 57, into here to see what happens. But you're already underneath a sloping down 200 period moving average here for crypto. So, yeah. It's not looking great, although we are up on the day. It's beating the market. It's beating the Nasdaq. So, great opportunities. But again, you're coming into that 100K. We've held 97, 98. If the Nasdaq really whooshes, so could crypto. And when that does happen, I think you got to sit there around that 57 marker and see if you can't take something. And then I'd get out if we break 57 and then see about yesterday's close or yesterday's low in around 56.50. I don't know. Like, I've written Bitcoin down a lot on here, And it's just, today, I'm not super excited about it.
We got some bears in the chat on Nvidia. Like, it's just, I know some people.
I can't blame people for being bearish.
Well,
I wrote down a short.
No, I know. I like the short too, but like I see like Junior Garcia, Nvidia to 40,
40?
Kirk, Nvidia to 30. Now I know people are just probably trolling a little bit.
Yeah.
I always say like to things like that. I'll get to Apple at some point because it's again looking pretty solid. No, but I mean if Nvidia gets to those numbers, we got other problems.
Yeah, I mean,
like I'm not like Nvidia is not my concern if
There you go.
Nvidia goes to $30.
Nvidia to 5. There we go.
Everyone's just joking around.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between day trading it short and thinking that the stock has like really underlying problems. A name that is not, well, at least not right now, was short. The only earnings name this morning that was to the upside. Boys.
Impressive as well. 4+% right now. We're well off the highs. We tagged 250. When did that happen for RCL? Nice report right across the board. A very, very minuscule, tiny little loss on the overall sales number, but everything else, nice beat. Guidance even to the upside here.
Yeah, record-breaking quarter, Bredno. Net income nearly doubled, $535 million. They took home from profit. Compare that to 278 they took home last time. Earnings beat Wall Street expectations. Revenue rose 13%, but it was only in line with what the street was looking for. As you mentioned, 2025 outlook upbeat, guiding well higher than the previous estimates. Look, booking surged after the Q3 earnings, leading to the 5 best booking weeks in the company's history. Passengers are also spending heavily when they're on the cruise, driven by higher pricing strategies by the company. They also announced that they're going to throw their hat into the river cruise ring. So Celebrity River Cruises obviously has a big market share there in Europe. They're going to be involved in that. They're ordering 10 new ships to compete with Viking River Cruises to kind of expand their moat.
Just real quick, we'll get to Boeing here in a second. Boeing CEO on CNBC right now, so a nice bounce back here for Boeing shares. Now, nicely positive on the day. He dropped Elon's name, apparently, in this interview. So, in quote-unquote, engaged with Elon Musk on Air Force One program. So, that was the move back higher.
I thought he was going to say he's bringing back his the stuck astronauts that they left up there, Brenda.
Or that, or maybe even the internet angle, but
Yeah.
we'll see. But yeah, just be aware, Boeing moving around.
Oh, look, man, I like seeing that for Boeing. We'll get to them in a second. Like look, RCL, obviously it's up a few points today. They were a little bit higher. It is pulling back underneath this prior resistance here at the 250 level. So generally speaking, continuation play needs to hold on to 250. I thought there'd be a little bit more juice to get some action going in CCL, which was a similar Carnival, just like it as a trading vehicle, better when it does volume. But I thought it was going to have enough juice if it could follow the coattails for a break of this really decisive consolidative top here on Carnival at 27.25. But that might have to wait for a day or two, maybe even for their own earnings. So I'll probably end up sitting out RCL. If something starts going crazy off this 250 level, probably worth a long. And then if Carnival gets dragged up by it, it's primed for a big breakout itself if it can test that 27. But for now, I guess the excitement is going into Boeing after that story.
Thank you so much to Lily Iglesias there. Thank you so much for joining us here and becoming a member. So we go bang for that. Thanks, Lily. And thank you, David, again, for your sweet super chat as well. David Blacklock there. So thank you so much for the service and for your super chat. Okay, so I actually wrote down RCL here today on the sticky note. And yeah, it's just going to be kind of a VWAP play, but the problem is it's already like under VWAP right now. So generally speaking, I like to see a gap and then to play it back into VWAP. So without too much volume here in the pre-market, it's going to be tough to follow this name. But the 200 period is where I wrote down. I wrote down 245. So right now it's at 244 and change. I just, the spread, we'll have to see where it opens and trade it off that. But it's definitely a long. I thought it was on here earlier. Maybe it's gone. Anyways, if it's not, it doesn't matter. Less than 50,000 shares anyways. So yeah, play back to the 200 period. Look, I mean, I think the cruises are working. You're right into the all-time highs again. So that's probably going to get taken out today, tomorrow, So I would expect it. We'll see if it just continues to climb higher. A better beat, a better expected forward guide. So yeah, and a beat on top of it. RCL's working and continues to be that name. So yeah, nice move to the upside. You can trade CCL if you want to get some little bit of lesser value name there as far as, I don't know what people's buying powers are like, but this could also start to go. Again, the catalyst isn't in this name, but I think if you can find a long in Carnival at some point down in and around, I mean, it's at 26 right now. So if we take off, then maybe hold this 26, you could get a couple, maybe 30, 40, 50 pennies out of CCL, as you could see what happened there on the spike up to 26.50, then a little bit of a fade. So yeah, but I would stay with the king in this example, which would be RCL. So I like it. I like the move to the upside right there. Make sure all you guys, no matter what stocks you're trading, whether or not it be RCL, Home Depot, Starbucks, coming through, but talk about some Boeing, Tesla. Make sure you do hit the like and the subscribe. And then if you do hit the subscribe, then you could definitely vote on this, because right now we already have 520 votes. Look, we got to get more likes, first of all, on the stream right now, because we just put this up 1 minute ago and we have 550 votes right now, and we have 735 likes. Hit the like right now and let's get going on that. These are severely rookie numbers right now. What stock will see a big move next? All right, Meta. That's my call. So I think that will be the next one. I don't know what you voted, but that's what I voted, Meta. We have earnings coming up. They're breaking all-time highs. They're at all-time highs right now. I actually think Nvidia would be the least out of all of these, to be honest with you. I mean, Apple has, the closest beta to the market.
Definition. Like if the definition is like percent move today, then I would say Nvidia. If next significant move on like the daily chart, Meta's literally breaking an all-time high. We were talking about. They can look at the move.
Yeah, no, I just mean like yesterday we moved 17%. So like, what classifies a big move for
Nvidia? About, like, out of those four, which one moves more percentage-wise today?
Today.
I'm not thinking relative. If it's relative, Nvidia is not doing anything relative to what it did yesterday, because it can't put in a 17%.
No. But could have 4, 5, 6% move, which would be half.
Oh, 100%. Like I still really like what Apple's been doing. Obviously, Apple had a really strong day yesterday. I want to come back and trade it again. Because Apple was just strong for multiple reasons in yesterday's trade, and I want to maybe stick to that train. But wow, Boeing was boring up until that story just now. Let's get the juice here.
We also just want to say thank you so much, because we were at 700 or something when I said it. Now we're at 1.1K. So I want to thank everybody with over 8,000. If I keep saying maybe over 8,000 soon, we'll be watching right now. So hit the like button if you have not done that, and tell YouTube what's up. So let's go talk right now about Boeing. It seems like it's now going.
Fitting. I was just noting the viewer number right now is 7777. Let's talk about Boeing. 4.5% right now to the upside. All you have to do is say Elon's coming to the rescue, and all is fine, because otherwise they lost a ton in this quarter.
They did, Brendo, and I didn't really have much set up here to say positively about them, but hey, they're up 4 1/3, so I'm just going to read it anyway. So this is the 6th consecutive annual loss for Boeing. They haven't made any money since 2018. They reported about $3.86 billion loss in Q4 of 2024. They also took a $3 billion charge on their commercial and defense aviation. They also lost about $5.90 a share, far worse than the street was expecting. The street was looking for $2.65. Revenue also missed. As I mentioned, they turned a profit last time in 2018. Some of the things that are holding them back: the 737 MAX crisis, pandemic-related downturn, manufacturing defects and cost overruns, and obviously, the near catastrophic MAX 9 blowout that happened last year. That also didn't help things. To build on your 777 point, though, they are finally retesting or starting the early tests for the 777X this January. They're waiting for a FAA certification before they can start sending them out. Some other things to add, American Airlines cutting international routes because the 787 Dreamliner not going to be delivered in time. Ryanair echoing that kind of same sentiment. They're cutting 2025 passenger traffic forecast because they're not going to get the planes in time. So I think all this is priced in.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can break out this level. I wanted to mention over here, 182.5, boys. I don't know how Neil sees this, but that was a local area top.
Well, I mean, yeah, I would maybe drift it a little to the 183. It's kind of like it's sitting right there for you. Look, I've liked the fact for a while when Boeing broke that 50-period moving average. which I bought it in my long term off of this breakout. And I like the fact that when you're getting not great news, Boeing has stopped falling when it receives it, and it's just starting to work into a little bit of an uptrend. The 200 period is now come and gone. I think the next step, like Sharif said, is can you break out 183? I did mark off, let me go to the 15-minute. I kind of marked off 180 when we just broke out. You don't necessarily know that an Elon story is going to come out of nowhere on Boeing, but when it did, you're through what multiple layer of resistance here at the 180. So I think just to play a bit of a join here, it's not the kind of spike that I would necessarily want to be buying any tops on, but now all of a sudden 180 provides you a bit of a pullback zone to maybe look for that stair step up play. It's a hold for me in the long term. When I bought it, I was never considering it a trade, so I'm not getting out of that. But the 180 level looking good here on Boeing. Let's see if it can dip and rip off of this level.
Yeah, I think 4% probably enough, but at the end of the day, look, I mean, there's going to be some more issues up here at 190. I mean, we can see that, but I think that's where it's headed. So that means you have another $6-7 to the upside right there, and we could actually get a nice little bounce there today. If it does get into this 188, 190 area, that's kind of where I would start the short. So I feel like that's something that we want to look at right now. Okay, the imbalances are now out, and it is a smoke show to the north side right now. Yeah, look at Nvidia. Nvidia just taking off right now. Nice move. What do we have? Oh boy, yeah, not bad. Little 2 million, which is about 10% of the volume so far. A 2 million buy right there for Nvidia left on the books right now to deal with. SMR also a buy. I'm trying to find names that may be working. QBTS. I mean, some of these volumes aren't that much, man. 350,000. It's really just Nvidia right now, the only one to work with. There's Rigetti. We have a dip buy opportunity in this. I'm bidding. We're not going to talk about quantum, but I'm bidding this name. Maybe now we have to go to VWAP. Maybe we have to go to $13 now. I'm bidding lower than that. I'm bidding 1250-ish area, 1260 on Rigetti. Broadcom with a buy as well. Tried to pick that one up yesterday. I didn't get any, but that would have been something to do. I picked up Nvidia yesterday. But there goes Nvidia still with that buy side imbalance. So, okay, it looks like this is going to have interest in it one more time. There's VRT and VST, both as buys, Vistra and Vertiv. So one on the upgrade and downgrade side, and then Vistra, of course, nice upside on power. Yeah, Oklo with the nuclear. So there's lots happening. Oracle yesterday really got smoked as well. That looks like it's not up 6% today, is it? No. Okay, up 4% though, so it's a nice move there for Oracle continuing higher. So there you go, guys. It looks like, I mean, B is for Brendan, and S is not, in our case, for Sharif, but there is only 2 S's on here and a heck of a lot of B's. So for now, it looks like it'll be a buy side, guys, into the open.
Professional segment there from Sean. Amazon, real quick here, a couple of minutes ago, Amazon back to the upside, or was trying to get back to the upside here this morning. Notably strong right out of the gate yesterday compared to anything else. I mean, yeah, it's not entirely AI based, but they do have an AI component. So we actually end the session green for Amazon yesterday versus what everything else happened. Cool video, Sharif, going to show you here. Amazon drone delivery coming back to the UK.
I'm all about this, Brendo. Here you're going to see the drone drop the package. There it is.
And broken.
Yeah, that better be packaged well there. No, seriously, you and I were talking off camera, I think a couple of weeks ago, about like having little areas in the neighborhood where you can have drone deliveries. We already have that. Like, so Canada Post has the local area where all the mail gets dropped, and then you've got to mosey on from your house and pick it up there. I don't think it should be really any different.
It's going to need to be padded, clearly, wherever they're dropping those things.
Drone figures it out. You know, just like, what if you have your dog in the backyard and you drop it on the dog? I mean, I don't.
They have to have some
your dog, first of all, has to be very, very chilled out just to be like, hey, what's going on? And then, you know, like my dog would be like, looking up, and then it might fall, and then unfortunately probably hit her. Yeah,
I don't have a dog, so it's just like that's where I'm like, okay, well that's interesting. Look, Amazon's they're a winner.
Why would they show that example? Like that thing looked like it was crashing like 30 feet down.
They should have had it fall on something a little.
Have a different angle. Like I'm sure it's not that dramatic.
Not a good look.
I was like, oh, here we go. I was like, this is going to be nice. All of a sudden, I was like, whoop. And then I'm just seeing it sitting there. I was like, oh, those are some nice wine glasses just got broke there.
Yeah, I think it's cool. The concept has obviously a lot of merits. No
well,
question
not
about
everything would qualify.
Not everything, yeah.
Right, like
certain things you would drop,
some
things you wouldn't. You probably have a safe zone you can set. Like there's all kinds of stuff that would have to go into. But I love, look, Amazon's chart's great.
Figure that out.
I like Apple too. And okay, you have a breakout set up here on Amazon, no questions asked, at the 236 level, and it'll be like an all-time high breakout. I'm hesitant with it because I don't know. I still like the continuation play in Apple. So I mean, the 200 period just had a bit of bounce on Apple, and then I'm looking at 26 and 28 is my support zones today, and then this also has a local high breakout as well. So this Amazon looks good. Kind of just want to go continuation on Apple because the long yesterday was my best long, and I want to play that continuation on Apple. But there's nothing wrong with Amazon, and clearly super strong, just like Meta, right? All-time highs, pretty much.
Yeah, I really like Amazon. I mean, there's a bunch of different names to look at. Neil just talked about Amazon. Now we only have 30 seconds left. So Google again off 190 was something that I was going to look at now as well. But I'm going to go right over to Nvidia to start the day. We have Nvidia, Rigetti, Apple 227. That's not going to hit right now. And then Royal Caribbean is on watch as well. And then the TQQs to fade a pop in the Nasdaq. So all right, now it's getting that time that right now it is less than 10 seconds ago. URA, well, that must have been from yesterday, down 11%. Okay, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's get this party started. Okay, 122 right now for Nvidia. So, you know, looks like it didn't come with too big of a volume spike there right off the open. So, all right, so that buy has now obviously come off of the name. We did get as high as 123 right there, and now we come back down in. I am going to short, I believe, 120. So I'm going to short the 120 level here on Nvidia. So I'm getting ready to get that all loaded up. I thought that was a trade that I wouldn't mind doing here today. If we did lose 120, I'm going to go short here on Nvidia. I wasn't too sure about it because of where we were today, but I still think that there is a little bit of problem with this name, and I actually don't feel super comfortable about buying it there yesterday. I just wonder if there is more to come here with Nvidia. So watch out. If we do break that, that's a possibility. And just like you could take the long if we break 123 right here as well. But Nvidia right now, not the name. It's not doing much.
Yeah, Palantir's not doing a heck of a lot.
Maybe?
Tesla, by the way, Tesla with a little bit of a drop at the open there. I know we didn't talk about Tesla, so a bit of a disappointment there. Oh, Apple did make the break. There was no dip at all on AAPL. It is breaking out the high of the day. Yeah, I'm looking bid on Boeing as well, as I'll let this chart try to load back up. We're looking at Boeing as well off that 180 level, but it's just absolutely flying as it's another big move for that name. Palantir here. Yeah, Palantir is coming right in. It doesn't make that 77 break, but it's coming back into 75. Might look for a dip there. And AMD, I still like shorts on AMD. Here comes Nvidia. Nvidia's going, and AMD will probably grab to the short side as well. But Apple's now flying. I got to adjust the dip buy on Apple because obviously it broke.
Apple's insane. Okay, so if I like to short 120, I probably should have been shorting when I was saying that I wanted to short it. But right there, it just fell right off, like pretty nice, man. We just, as soon as we put, this is 1 minute down $1.50. Right here for here it comes for NVDA. So I'm only crossed down 20 cents. Like I might miss this punch. It could also be a long. Like there's the 120. If you got the rebound long, there's 20 cents. I think that's a great trade as well. Like you take 20 cents both ways and maybe relax. So here it comes back in right now for Nvidia. We were long this exact time yesterday, basically off of a similar flush. So let's just make sure that if this does fall out, we will get the shares. But then where are we going to be wrong, right? I mean, I was almost going to just be wrong on prior bar close. But there we go right now, 120. Maybe the bounce is here, guys, on NVDA. So 120. Yeah, so that's 120, 150, 121 and a quarter. Maybe you got to hold this one, maybe $1 against you here. But here we go, right back into 120. One more. I'm sorry if I'm just looking at this, but there we are. We are now short with NVDA through 120.
Yeah, it's looking like it is a hefty downside move. But man, Apple is just continuously going off to the races here. I've adjusted, and obviously we're not going to look at 228 for a dip anymore. Going to go into the prior high at 232. You've got Marvell, which is also trying to crater. I want to make sure we get Marvell short if we can come back into VWAP in here. A little bit slow chart, so I'm just going to be pulling down the black chart for you, the ones when I look up. You're right at VWAP in here, right underneath VWAP. I just tried to punch through the 132 to the downside. Did not get filled. I'm going to leave him in there, see if we can't get picked up. Marvell was down more than Nvidia, and it looks like it's playing a little bit of catch-up as Nvidia already heading into the downside. Still no real pullback on Apple, and Tesla dropping about $3 off of the open. I think that is worthy of a watch. The small cap I'm watching this morning is Holo, and it's more of a continuation play yesterday. If it cannot break prior highs, I want to fade any pop into the prior highs, but no movement on Holo yet. So just going to have to play the patience game with that. Wow, this is really dropping that Marvell.
All right, so we only got out of a third. Yeah, I mean, some of these names, so now the market rebounds. So that could have been, I mean, and we're here for it, right? So that could have been the flush right there on Nvidia. Our best outs, though, right now, we're just, well, here it comes back in again. I'm waiting for the 200 period to get out. We could possibly reload this short, but let's just give it, it's only 934 right now. So we're actually done, we have done quite well here, but you know, never satisfied. Let's see if it gets down in, there it is. Okay, so right now, guys, we are doing it again, Neil. Right now here today, we are doing it again live on the show with another big trade here for you on the Nvidia short. We called this play when it was at 122. We said, Neil, that we are putting out the offer to go short through 120. So there it is. It is your first. You're not in anything right now. It is your, I believe, your first Dollar Club winner of the day, but doesn't mean it's going to be your last. It's a big one right there for Nvidia. Nice move to the downside here as we break backs, man. We are still in half of this position. I'm going to take another piece out right here if we can at 119, and then we'll see it from here. But so far, so good here on, okay, there it is. We did wind up getting out. So there we got another piece out there at 119.05. So yeah, man, so far so good. Rigetti falling out of bed right now as well, as that comes into our 1250 area that we liked. So all right, man, very, very much a starter position now on Rigetti. But yeah, I don't want this thing to go red for us. So all right, 1240, 1250, maybe something like that for Rigetti, and we'll stop out of that one. But there it goes again, man. It is now your official dollar and change club. There, Sharif, man, Nvidia falling down right now, going lower, lower, lower. Nvidia now, Neil, $1.20 in the money.
Yeah, it's absolutely falling like a rock. Great short over there. Apple's starting to come in as well. I look up, it's just dropped about $1.20. Coming into VWAP pretty hot.
Go
as 232 is looking like it's going to be the price. Not going to just yet on Marvell. We still like any kind of a bounce in there on Marvell to try to fade it. Remember, everybody, if you like Rigetti and spaghetti and you like Apple and Nvidia, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and make sure you share with your friends, because this is where the live action is going to be. The Nasdaq just went red on the session.
Boy.
And Apple's trying to hold out. So we're going to play the higher low. It just bounced off 232 3/4. So we're going to play off that level. It was a good long yesterday. We're going to look for the relative strength once again in AAPL.
And there it is again, bang, bang, bang. I mean, when are we stopping? The answer is never. There's Rigetti right now, 30 cents in the money. Neil, we hit Nvidia monstrous. We hit Rigetti here. It was a starter position, but we will take 40 cents right now on RGTI. Congratulations to everybody out there. Let's go, man. Let's get on that little diamond. It's always nice when it's bigger than your head, those diamonds. But here comes Rigetti. We are starting to get out. Like, okay, 82s. We'll take that. We're not using liquidity here to get out. We're just using this bump up. I mean, it's 3 or 4 straight red candles to the downside. We pick out 1250, and it's not like, again, you know, we're getting a little tired, like always lifting this thing up here, but we're trying to show you guys, so we're going over to Twitter right now. These are the plays that we have on. Here is Rigetti right there, 1250 long. So, I mean, it's in the spot right there. We're going to go 2 for 2 huge right now with Rigetti and with Nvidia. And Neil, we are now at, and shout out to, here we go, David in the chat, because this is probably what you're doing right now. You're making your day, right? I mean, this is the thing. Neil, we are now at 150% of our day goal right now. So, I mean, this is what we're doing. Nvidia falling out of bed huge right now. We still have a third left on this one, down into 118.69. And oh boy, we called this one. It's a smooth $1.30 right to the downside. I hope you guys got it. Neil's all over Apple. Let's go Apple as well.
well, I want Apple to go, I want Boeing to go, but I don't want it to go without me. Oh. And so far, it absolutely is. It's crazy, even though this is exactly like yesterday. The market is breaking the lows. Apple is breaking highs. So Apple, excuse me, 235 obviously going to be a big psychological level. Meta $675 right now and up 2%. Amazon, Amazon had made a fresh all-time high. It did break out its pullback, but 2 seconds ago while Sean was talking, it was absolutely running just like Apple was. So we're going to look for that 235 zone here on Apple. As long as we can hold trend, great. But you don't like what's going on in the market because overall we're pulling it back in. Tesla just broke 390 to the downside, so you got to pick your spots for the longs. No questions again here today, Adara.
We have Boeing on watch here. In case you missed it, they actually have not had their conference call yet. So stay tuned for their earnings call at 10 a.m. Eastern. Same time we get some economic numbers. I'm actually seeing some news as well, though, here on BA. Basically, I'm seeing comments from CEO Kelly Ortberg, who we know was speaking on CNBC. Apparently, he said that they're actually on track to exceed their monthly production goal there for 737. So keep an eye on BA. Meta also apparently crossing over 1.7 trillion market cap for the first time ever, as this one makes new all-time highs. They're above 670s. Also, there's some small caps as well. Keep an eye on BHF. Brighthouse Financial reportedly looking to sell itself, as reported by here Financial Times. So BHF on watch as well, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. Appreciate you. So I just had the over-under on Apple. It's going to code as a short sell because I punched it and accidentally took out the entire position. I already had a take profit out there, but the way the market's pulling back in, what happened in Apple yesterday, you still had a good dip after the opening push, and it came right in there, retesting our key price of 25, and then also retesting VWAP. So we're just going to continue to take the stairs up on Apple. Right now, VWAP sits. I mean, I'm sitting here chilling, looking for 233. But that's the only long that we liked here, and that's the one that we took. And so far, so good for Apple. Now I'll go back over, and I don't know if we're going to be able to get Marvell short at this point, but it might be able to give us a pullback into VWAP. It's still green on the session, believe it or not. So thankfully, we found the one long that might be out there in big cat tech land, and we'll have to wait for the pullback. It's at 235 now. We'll see what's on the offer there, but it shouldn't matter the size.
All right. So we're up today. Yesterday we had a good day. We're better today. So this is what we talk about all the time: getting better, and improving, getting more shares, getting more confidence, and then just putting up what we're putting up. So congratulations to everybody. We really, really nailed this level today. We talked about 120. Let's come over here, Fabian. We talked about 120 there on Nvidia. And like, I even saw some people in the chat like, no, that's the wrong way. That's the wrong way. I mean, it's fine. I bought some of this name yesterday. I'm not happy with this move. But Neil, this is $2.50 in the money. Like, let's just be real about what we're trying to do as traders. Like this rate there, and we are now at 200% of the daily goal. That's why we talk like this, is because we want to just make sure that it's possible. And we try to tell everybody this because, as you know, Neil, as we all know, 95 to 98% of all day traders fail. So when you're able to, like our friend David here in the chat, thank you so much, David. Like you guys are seeing, like me here as well. Neil had a winner there. It's like, you know, you gotta hit goals, and there it is. Me and Neil film these videos, and we literally talk like this. Up your risk, right, Neil? Up your shares. Do these things when things are working for you. Go back, talk about your winning trades. Neil, we did a thing yesterday that said celebrate your victories. Celebrate your victories.
Celebrate those milestones when you hit them.
And
look, everyone has to be their own. I'll be the first person to tell you, in the moment, you always got to try to focus on your next trade.
Oh, for 100%.
Because I'll be the first to admit, you know, like when the open happens and you're looking over at Apple and I'm on the level 2 of Apple, well, Marvell did the over-under move and it did that pop and fade. So I'm laser focused on, hey, if we get a pop back, I need to be there to snag it off VWAP so I can catch that trade. That's where your eyes have to be. Like yesterday, it was Apple 222. today, we didn't catch any dip on Apple, but yesterday, if you're ready, like you got those dips into pre-market lows. Now you got to go over what the next trade is, right? When all that is happening, everything's going crazy.
Wow.
I'm looking for that first spot to get longs in Apple on the first available dip. So that's where you got to try to focus on if you can. But this market is absolutely bleeding. We did go over a couple other things. Tesla, fresh lows as well. This is not looking very, very good. And I can't keep looking over at Apple and how strong it is. We'll catch the next available pop when we do. But I'm trying to stay locked in. Marvell's back at the $100 level that we longed yesterday. This was where we were going long in the afternoon. If we lose this bid, got to be thinking continuation to the downside on MRVL. It is about to go red any second, so that $100 level looking pretty key. And then I also like, and we talked about Holo, there's the other, like Holo right there, pop fade. It is continuing to the downside on HOLO. So that's the other short that we're looking for. Apple now 235.30. That's not a fun keystroke, but is what it is. Got to look for the next dip.
Yeah, Apple, absolutely monstrous. We are now almost $4 now in the money on this Nvidia trade. So we'll take another piece out right here at 116.72. And yeah, I mean, that's exactly as Neil said, man. Look out for that next trade. Don't, and I even said this, I said this yesterday live on the show, and Adair knows this because I talked to Obi too. It's like trading is not about what you made today, it's about what you make tomorrow. Because I've already made this money. We're already here. You know, it's not worth it for Neil to compare or for me to compare or anything like that. This is the trade. I have the trade. The trade is in. The money is in the pocket right now, which is why I'm telling you the day's been made right here already. So we can all do this. You know, we'll all maybe get there different ways, but right there, it's 9:40, and we have one trade idea, and that's the advantage, as we all know, of trading prop. You know, we're sitting here trading other people's money, and I'm loading into these ideas. And so far, so good. All right, so we only have right now about 20% left of this trade. I'm going to take an opportunity to get another piece out right now in the 70s. My best bids are basically 17s. I don't think we really got any 116s, but look at that bottom there, 117. It held yesterday. It might hold again here today. So let's start to get some out, ring some registers. Rigetti, we have less than 10% left of this name as well, but we're going to watch out. Remember where we were going to get out around 1240? I think that's still going to be the play. Maybe a break now of 1230. Let's put that in. not 112, 1229. We almost had old man hands here too. 1229, we'll push offer, enter, and then go right back into it. So remember, my stop for Nvidia was $1.20. Right? And we just wound up taking that 3 and change on this. But we are trying to battle back a little bit. I'm going to punch out another piece here at 118 if we're able to get that, as Nvidia making a march back to the upside there, as the Nasdaq, well, we just got 118s again, as the Nasdaq, it's still in the middle, man. I mean, we were waiting for that 21.1, but that's not there yet. So, all right, Nvidia, nice battle back. If anybody caught the long, congratulations. Great trading.
Yeah, well, now that the market's back, look, the market is split right now. Like the Nasdaq is trying to battle back off of the lows. You still have the stronger names pulling up. What's interesting is actually I just looked up Tesla, Nvidia both popped, and then we just had a little bit of a drop here in Apple. So I'm still hunting for VWAP. Got to go over to SoFi. In my notes, I like 1680 for a short on SoFi. I chuckle because SoFi just dropped $1 off of the open. Not good. It's an earnings continuation play. So try to keep it simple. If you don't have the flush here or on a pop and fade, I usually want to be shorting it into prior resistance or support. That's 15.7. That's VWAP in here right now for SoFi. So SoFi, 15.5. If we get in there, I'll take the starter position on SoFi. Thought we'd be doing it the other way, where we'd be fading pops, but I just want to be joining the trend. And as I said, sort of focused on what we want to be in. Marvell, with that bounce that you just saw in the market, and Nvidia, it's pulling into the 101 level for the first time. So let's see if we can't get it off of this resistance in the afternoon. It played 100 to 101 multiple times and unable to break 101.5. So as it breaks 101 here, that's where I want to look for the continuation short on MRVL. Tesla is, that was a little bit surprising. Tesla didn't really have a particular catalyst, but it didn't stop it from absolutely flushing off of the open. Let things settle down a bit here, everybody.
Ugh.
And
market really is coming in.
Yeah, I mean, Apple's starting to pull into VWAP. If we lose here on Apple, VWAP, we're in a world of hurt, everybody. So let's just be real. Like, I think if these stocks can't hold on to VWAP here, then that's not a good look at all. And this is one of the strong names out there. I'm going to lump Microsoft in here and Amazon. If they can't do the heavy lifting, the market doesn't have any choice or any hope, because that's what we got yesterday. We got these guys holding us up, and averting disaster is the best way to think about it. So we're in Marvell. I'm in SoFi. I'm not in Apple yet because we're still $1 away from VWAP, but we're getting pretty close to wanting to pull that trigger.
Yeah, so we just got some more 1.7. Okay, I mean, I just took another 118 there, but we did get, oh, that's still Rigetti. Oh, yeah, so Rigetti just popped again into that level. I'm going to put another offer here at 12.97 just to see if we can get out another piece, but we have less than 10% now. We have 6%. We just got 2.5 out again right there. We got a lot of this out on that initial pop back there, so now we can hold a little bit. I'm going to take something out on VWAP, and then we'll see if we can hold about that 5% and then let it go. I mean, ultimately, we're always going to wish we held just a little bit more. Let's check out Palantir. On the sticky note today was Nvidia, and I want to say shout out to somebody who said that they were already up 1,800 and done for the day. I mean, I just want to say props up to you, because great minds, I guess, are thinking alike. I don't think there's anything wrong with being done, especially if you've hit your goals at this point. Apple, okay, that long has already gone. Like Neil mentioned, we'll play pullbacks. Oh, let's check out RCL real quick. So before we head off of Palantir, when the market bleeds like this, we've seen it happen numerous times. Palantir gets hit a lot more than any other stock. It seems like. Maybe not today when we're looking at Nvidia, but you know, like that was just 76.50. It just dropped $2.50 on that Nasdaq weakness there into the lows. So trying to figure out if that's going to be a bottom. I don't think the selling is done in the Nasdaq yet, so I'm going to stay away from Palantir. And the next bid I have on Nvidia is 116.70. And we are getting lighter and lighter now on Nvidia, under 10% left. So the name I wanted to look at, Apple, I don't know if you got that. It didn't add. It kind of wicked. Yeah, it was tough. I was trying to do the same thing. No, I was just going to say it wicked down, but it didn't quite get there.
Look, I have an execution plan for that when it does this wick on Apple. Just very quickly, come like chart before we go to Adara. Like I have a plan of action when it wicks 234 like that, which is if it holds 234, take a break back above the prior bar, which is 20s. But this time I just didn't get the punch. So I did try to punch this. It's like hold the even dollar, break that prior bar, just go punch long because it's a wick bottom. I'll sit there and go long off of this local low here on Apple if we can grab it. I just don't like, do you want anything long but Apple right now? Crazy. I mean, if you do, I'm not seeing it. So, you know, you guys let me know what is strong here. I had a quick peek over at Amazon and that wasn't breaking the highs. I know Meta's doing pretty well. Marvell, we got that pullback. It's actually 101.34. We've now double tapped, so I'll let the market usually decide what the resistance is going to be. We eyeball 101.5 because it just happens to be pre-market lows when we were in the afternoon, but it's now double tapped this level. So if it breaks 40, I might as well just get out and wait for VWAP. SoFi, we're doing a similar play, shorting it off of VWAP here. SoFi, look, SoFi didn't have bad earnings. It just doesn't matter. It cratered after the earnings. So we're going to give it back into this prior low. Apple is the one that's a miss on that last little dip. Okay, you know, never mind. Amazon is breaking out. Yeah. Okay, so Amazon is pretty much, it's at the breakout right now. So we just missed a dip buy in Apple, but if Amazon finds any buyers above this 236.40 level, that's from 2 days ago, then it's all-time highs here on Amazon. You want to be careful about getting trapped in all-time high fail breaks. But, I mean, it just broke the 50 level, so I guess we're going to go long. And there goes Marvell. So Marvell initially gave us a pop down, but now it just came right back in to the upside on MRVL. SoFi still holding on, but let's see if we can't pick up this Amazon trade. This is the issue with looking at Apple, is that by the time Amazon broke, I'm firing orders into it as opposed to focused on that level too. Still have Apple up for the next dip. But wow, there goes Amazon. What a breakout.
Amazon, yeah, we love Amazon. Amazon again, that's that vacation stock of ours, and not selling it. See if we can stay in a better place here. Amazon nicely done to the upside. We talked about the Nasdaq making that move down, and it really recovered like quite nicely there on the day. I took 117.80s there. on the way down. Just wondering if we are trying to find a little bit of a base there. But this is what I was talking about with the Nasdaq as we sort of can zoom back in and around here. Whoa, on this level right there. So came back in. We kind of got into yesterday's low. This is where we were talking about that 21.1 that we were trying to look at. Didn't quite get there. We got to 21.80. So that would be something to look at for the downside. I don't really want to get crazily bullish until we break this 21.4. So we're still stuck in the middle. IMO. What's up, Adara?
Elon Musk related news here. DOGE here. This is Dogecoin. As you can see, getting a little bit of a pop here on this 15-minute candle. Bloomberg reporting that there are a couple different firms in talks with the Department of Government Efficiency, which does happen to be called DOGE for short due to the acronym there, which is run by Elon Musk. Apparently, basically, these firms are talking to the DOGE team with regards to the use of blockchain for evaluating technology for government efficiency. So apparently, Elon Musk's DOGE working here with regards to blockchain. So both of those catalysts here looking like a good look for DOGE, which did get a little bit of a spike on that report, guys. Back to you.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you very much there, Adara. I appreciate you.
Dogecoin.
Well, I don't track Doge. I don't even have it on. I mean, we'll look at that, see how that's going.
Yeah.
I really only I pay attention to Bitcoin because I think the market sometimes Bitcoin falls the Nasdaq a little bit. Sometimes the Nasdaq, if a big level happens to break on Bitcoin, then you'll get some follow through there. So that's what I'm watching. And I'm not in any of those crazier altcoins. So shout out to anybody that is and is doing well on them. All right, Apple, let's see if you can do a little bit of a dip. But right now, you've got Amazon pulling back into prior highs. These are all-time highs here for Amazon. 236.40 was that prior all-time high. So much like Apple, you're getting your first red bar on the 3-minute, or at least attempted red bar in the 3. If it holds the prior low or high in this particular case, let's see if we can't get a dip and rip here for Amazon. It's only up 0.2%, but I think the significance is the fact that it is still an all-time high break. So it's about 1 minute to go on that candle. You did have a halt on BLBX. I quickly looked at it, and my first thought was be very careful trading that stock. Liquidity is non-existent on BLBX, halted to the downside. So there goes SoFi. We didn't get it at 16.8. We play it off of VWAP, but if it breaks out above, then we get out and wait for it to resume that trend line. Still want to be long Amazon and Apple. I can't get away from that and still have to stay a little bit laser focused. I've got level 2s in my charts that are focused on Amazon, Apple, SoFi, and that Holo. Haven't really gotten into Holo yet.
All right, yeah, great call there on Amazon and on Apple and on Marvell. I mean, there's been a lot of movement here today. I just want to say, like, Rigetti right now, 12.50 long. We just posted it up. We posted it when we took the trade. We're posting it now again as we break through $13 right now on Rigetti. And we actually took another piece out right there at 13 and change. Thanks, Randall. As we go to the upside right there for Rigetti. So that's a nice move there. Yeah, what's your favorite pasta? Like, what's your cannelloni? Okay, I'm down with that too. I can't. Okay, yeah, the feta cheese. Good call on that.
No, it's only,
I like the Parmesan rinds. You keep those, you throw those right in there, and then you get yourself a little tasty treat.
I can't do that.
Coming in there. All right, so Nvidia, we talked about that could be the bottoms down there. So now we have. Trying to think about it, it's under 5%, but there still is some shares here, so we'll have to watch out for that 120 breaker one more time. I'm going to put the stop there on this last 5%. I think that's being real responsible. I'm going to cancel that. If it does break through 120, then we'll get out of there. 120.20 or so out of our last piece for Nvidia. Like I said, the damage, I mean, and it's not damage. We've already done what we need to do here on Nvidia today. So that was a good trade. And Rigetti's sort of just like, all right, dude, we'll go with you as well. So 2 for 2 on those trades. Doesn't mean anything. We're looking for more, as we've talked about. Palantir, I mean, look at this move back in the market. I mean, were you there buying those dips or not? I mean, there it goes. So I don't know how to call that. Yeah, we're going to have economic numbers. Like, there's things happening here, but it's just a matter of, like, what's happening. And right now, it's a rebound, and there go the Qs, right back up to 21 and change. So we talked about where we look to get short. Maybe we'll call up the TQs. I was looking at $81 there, which is that high that we talked about, that 21.4. So we're not quite there yet for me to flip over.
Did you say 21?
Yeah, can you do something for it?
As Adara says, can you do something for me?
Yes, exactly.
And Amazon do something for us as well. Look, it's absolutely crazy, this move that just happened, and it's not just Apple and Amazon. I mean, Nvidia just pulled $3 off of the bottom here. So Amazon, first red bar, holds the bottom. Unlike Apple, we were able to get this one. We got Apple once, we got Amazon once. There's nothing in terms of levels up here. If you like Fibonacci's or something, then maybe you throw those up. I'm just thinking 240 bucks. So like every dollar on the way to 240 is going to be a level for us here on AMZN. And then Apple, if we're trying to stay focused on the strong names from yesterday. Okay, Wick 234. I don't know, I can't be married to the entry that we missed. So I'm not just going to leave a bid where we missed the bid last time. So let's see if we either get VWAP in here or another hold at that 234 level for Apple. The market is right back into resistance levels. That's going to lead me to Marvell. Wow, Marvell. Okay, let's zoom it back out because 105 was the spot that I liked Marvell, and it's at 102.5. So if it gets back into these pre-market highs, that's still a bit of a fade zone for me. Crypto's not doing anything, but it is up. And if they're up, then my eyeballs are on the old fade in Mara. So if we break out the top, we're only at 102.7 in BTC, so we still have a ways to go before we get any real pop and fade plays on that name. So Marvell getting close to that pre-market high, which we'd want to reload on that one. Apple, I guess it doesn't want to get to VWAP. I'll zoom it back in for you guys. Man, Apple's strong. Apple's real strong. Now you've got, look at this trend that it's holding on Apple. Pretty steep trend. If we lose the trend, dollar to VWAP, and then we'll go for the dollar retracement. And I got to respect the same thing here on Amazon. If we can't break this double top, well, VWAP is $1.70 away on Amazon. I'm not holding the VWAP. That's a very local top that I'll just get out and wait for it to pull back a little bit further. Let's go to Adara. Time for happening now.
Looks like the Richmond Fed Composite Index is already out, coming in -4, so better than the expected -10. CP Consumer Confidence a little bit lower than expected here, 104.1 versus 105.85 expected. It's also lower than the previous print of 104.7, so just to recap here, slightly lower than expected CP Consumer Confidence and also lower than expected Richmond Fed Composite Index data here today. Nasdaq not really reacting, continuing to try to push to the upside, roughly flat here on the day. Let's check the S&P 500 as well here on this 3-minute chart and see how the SPY is doing. SPY pretty similar, but a little bit more removed from that recent high than what we're seeing there with the Qs. We're going to have to wait and see what occurs here with these markets. Of course, AI still on watch here. We've got Boeing and some of these earnings names on watch as well. Boeing, actually, their earnings call is set to begin right now, so if I hear anything of note or see any moves, I will definitely keep you all apprised. They missed on earnings per share and sales, but their CEO, Kelly Ortberg, did mention apparently working here with Elon Musk. So, of course, the Elon Musk mention sends it to the upside. Kelly Ortberg also discussed potential sale here for Boeing's non-core segments. So keep an eye on BA for sure. Some other earnings names are GM and RCL. And then, of course, there's also Nvidia, some of these other AI plays on day 2 of the DeepSeek reaction. We do have some fear that DeepSeek could, I guess, add a little bit more competition to that AI space. So keep an eye on all these tickers. Should be an interesting day once again, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, we may already be getting...
The market has fear that DeepSeek, for the AI names, the market has fear of what DeepSeek can do. I'll tell you right now, we're Canadian, but American ingenuity shouldn't have fear of that. This is exactly what Alphabet and Alphabet, OpenAI, this is what they need, man. If it was going to be ridiculously expensive, then they need a kick in the butt. And when you have big, large corporations that have control and have limited, look, the barrier to entry was high because those NVIDIA chips are expensive. This is what you needed to have happen to light that fire under the butts. And I think that's going to be a good long-term thing. Especially, I like Google in this one, and I don't hate on Gemini. Is what it is, like certain other people, but it is what it is, and I like it in the long term. This market rally
hates
is
on Gemini, I don't think.
No one around here hates on Gemini.
Okay.
I happen to be a fan. I do use it myself, and I like Google as a holding, but not everybody likes Gemini. Amazon all-time highs. Meta is trying to get back to its all-time highs. Here's the somewhat concern. Like, I don't know why Meta dropped as much as it did just there when the market got back up to the top, but you got to respect that somebody was selling here at 675. So Amazon's looking good. Apple is still on trend, stay on target. And we're looking for the next available dollar here on AMZN. But we're getting into the short zone. And if you're looking for the short zone, I've already mentioned Marvell, and AMD is another one in the pocket. I'm canceling Marvell. What I like about AMD over Marvell right now is the market's going back to the highs. AMD can't even get to VWAP. So it doesn't matter that I happen to like the Marvell short a little bit more earlier. Now I like AMD more because it's relatively weak. Relative strength and relative weakness matters. And with that, let's go and take care of some business.
Yeah, sure. Are you a skilled trader, guys, but lacking capital? Then prop firms offer the opportunity to trade with simulated funds, allowing you to showcase your skills. Access account sizes ranging from $5,000 to well over $500,000. You can start with as little as that 20 piece in your pocket. But with over 500 prop firms out there, how do you find out which ones are the best? Well, that's where Prop Firm Match steps in. Prop Firm Match is your go-to platform for finding and comparing only the most esteemed firms with proven track records and consistent long-term payout histories. Access everyone. Over 4,500 verified reviews. Explore payout histories and discover the best current deals all in one place. Please scan that QR code there below. Check the link in description to find out more from propfirmmatch.com. Hey, visit their website. Go check it out. This is the thing. All those reviews, we talk about this all the time. The payout history is extremely important. You want to make sure that you can indeed get paid for your trading. And there are so much out there as far as competition. So make sure you go check out propfirmmatch.com today. And we want to thank them for the sponsor. And it's right there on your screen. I mean, we make it pretty easy for you.
Not everybody has to deal with competition, but that's a place where you want that competition. Now, we don't have to deal with competition being the only real trading show out there where you'll see live trades, where we'll have live news like you have right now with Adair at the desk.
Just be aware here of Visa. This was actually posted, I think, about 7 minutes ago, but there wasn't much of a move in the stock at the time. Now there is a move, though, so I want to let you guys know about V. Basically, the CEO of X, or formerly known as Twitter, Leonard Yaccarino, posted on X a couple minutes ago basically saying that Visa is going to be X's first partner for their X Money account, which is going to be debuting later this year. So X making a push into the financial sector with V as their partner. Keep an eye on X Money and keep an eye on Visa. Guys, back to you.
We're that move down, there was a lot to buy there today if you did believe in some of these runs like in Nvidia, like in Amazon and things like that, and like Apple right off the jump there as well. Okay, we haven't been able to talk about this too much because we just had the prop for match there, and then now the TQs. So look, we just got hit there shorting into 80. So we're going to be down right now on the TQQs. I just thought that we could pull back. And it's my bad because the levels should be right here. We shouldn't have stopped out too much earlier. So I was thinking about right into here, this sort of level. I'm still thinking like the ultimate short would be there. And I feel like we're getting a little antsy trying to make something happen right now. And by the way, Joe let me know, I don't know where Joe is right now, but he went long at 117 there on Nvidia. So we congratulate Joe for that kind of a ripper. But Nvidia, we did. So I just tried again right there. And we finally got stopped out at 120.30 break. So we actually made a little bit of money shorting right there and finally just now getting stopped out. Doesn't mean that I think this play is over with, but that was a great level. And sometimes it's like yesterday, we made the money. There's Joe. Yeah, great trade there. Did you get out yet or still? Okay, so he's all out now. So great trade up from 117 up to 120. But it's like yesterday we made all the money long and then we flipped over to the short. It's basically a carbon copy, but like the other way around. I guess it's not carbon copy, but you had yesterday the move down and then the rebound. And then today it's kind of like you had a huge break of that 120 and then went right back into past support there from yesterday. And then the rip happens from there. So again, just had to zoom out a little bit. And we had Chef Joe on last week, and he was talking all about that zooming out and how that's changed for him. So that was a great pickup there by zooming out. I took one more shot. They're trying to short it right here at VWAP. I still think we're going to be right, but at the end of the day, I'm not trying to think about anything. I'm just trying to watch out for price action. Rigetti's still 50 cents, and we are short now the market. I'm going to wait for a pullback. We just shorted now at 20s, and we actually wound up getting 05s or so. Because we got chopped up and took a couple hits there, I mean, I'd like to see this thing fall down. I just don't want to go right back into scalping mode because we scalped out the loss. So too many losses there. Let's see if it can fall back in and try to make this back into 79.60 or so. But the stop out is basically where we are right now. I mean, the Nasdaq is starting to go higher here, and we're starting to feel some kind of ways about holding on to this. So that stop right there would be $81. That's a little too high. That's actually where we wanted to start building the short. So I'm thinking like local highs right now for the stop of, oh, our chart doesn't really show a local high. Right there, what is that? 80.30s. So we're short here at 15s, 14s. I think that's well worth the risk right now as we pull back into flats for the trade. So, okay, there we go. Nice little push down now, Neil. So there we go. So now, okay. Now it's starting to make sense, the risk to reward. So now let's start taking some pieces off. We just gave you 15 handles worth of risk. So now it's 30 in the money. So let's take, oh, wow, now it's 40 in the money. Let's take another piece off. I don't know if something just hit there or not, but it looks like, Neil, I hope you're not long chip names because I just saw Nvidia dip down. Now we got stopped out of Nvidia, but it is pulling back right there. So
not just Nvidia.
Okay, lots of different. Okay, you go ahead.
Topping tail candle on Amazon up down through 238. So like it got to the next even dollar, 38. It was holding for a minute, closed under, then broke out, made a fresh high, and then lost 238 again. So even dollar failed break for now on Amazon. What's going on with Apple? Oh, Apple doesn't care. Apple literally doesn't care that the market just got to a top and pull back. Apple is still at the high and not giving you. Okay, it's not giving you VWAP. It's giving you entries on dips. Like there's 1, 2, 3. I've got one of the 3 dips on Apple. So, yeah, you know, I can't sit here and complain. I can't tell you that Apple hasn't given you dip buys. It's given you a couple in there. I did pivot to Amazon, so I am okay with it. But the next time we get a dip on both of these, obviously I like this 236.75. That's in front of the prior all-time high, 236.5. And then for Apple, as the market tries to come back in here, maybe just look at the trend line. So I'm just going to go with kind of like line of best fit. We'll throw that trend in there. That holds up with 235. So I guess I'm looking 235 dip on Apple. But in comes Nvidia, in comes AMD.
Let's go.
Meta I haven't really taken too much of a look at. And Juan Padilla just said Palantir shorts. I forgot to look at Palantir.
Yeah,
oh, that's at 77. That's the big level. Oh, my goodness. Palantir at the 77. This could be a bit of a mean reversion. If it fails this breakout, we've seen what Palantir does when it fails an even dollar breakout. That is a heck of a mean reversion trade. Good call, Mr. Padilla.
Yeah, good call, Mr. Padilla. All right, so we're just, right now we only have we have 2 positions, but Rigetti, we're less than 5%. We're not super worried about that one. The TQs, we still have 50% of this, just a couple five spots in and around here. Great outs though in the 70s and in the 80s. So we're, like I said, we are trying to hold to make a little bit back here on the Nasdaq. Like when you're trading futures, like you can have a couple different strategies to it. You could take multiple shots, which again, if you trade like us, and like I've traded now thousands of shares of the TQs already here today, and like my fees are just a couple bucks on it because every time it comes in and I'm sitting here, so like right now I'm sitting at 61, so that's just where the 200 period sort of is. So if that comes in and fills me, I'm getting paid to add liquidity into the market. So it creates a lot of advantageous opportunities for this style of trading where you're not like layering into your fees because obviously if you're paying $10 a fill, or even if you're paying $5 for every fill, like I already have today just 20, again, thousands, I mean, shares is, you're not going to get billed per share, you're going to get billed per trade, so the thousands of shares doesn't really matter, but 24 individual fills. So it's like, even if every one of those fills is like $5, you know, you're still at $100 worth of fills. So that's not how I trade this whatsoever. We're adding liquidity every time. I'm rarely punching in and removing and getting charged a fee. So that helps this style of trade. So I was gonna say, if you're trying to follow me, I think you just gotta use some of these higher levels because often I'll start the trading and everyone's gonna do it differently. It's like Rigetti, why we wrote down 1250, but yet we're long at 1260. It's like, if we're kind of liking this area right there, sure, in hindsight, it looks great, like we should have just waited for that, but I was just going short into that area until it broke. And once it broke, we wound up getting out and then seeing if it was going to settle down. We thought we had one tall wick there. Looks like it hung out for a little bit more, but then there's the right back into past support. So that's a decent spot right there to think about getting out as we retrace back. Remember, we still have half, so it's not like the perfect trade here by any stretch. We could still get stopped out. Remember, 80-30 is where this trade winds up stopping out. So, yeah, still a lot under this market. I think it's a long now above VWAP. We just didn't even get there. We held. So I'm stopping out of this and then completely regrouping the whole train of thought right now, as it is looking more and more.
Oh
like
my goodness, Amazon.
like long to me. Is that just blasting again?
Amazon again.
So
AMD above VWAP. I preferred that to Marvell, which at least that distinction was right for the reload. We'll go back to that in a second. But then when we wicked out of it, Amazon thinking we're going to get another pullback. What pullback? Amazon now, it's only 1% up, but it's just way more impressive than that because it was at 230. It was at 234 at the open. And it looked like it was going to do a failed break of the open and then just hold under VWAP and then stair step into the downside. Right, Palantir, and then shout out to Juan Padilla. Like, I like this. You got two things going with a mean reversion trade. Sometimes I like the fact that you're just have a big time trend where you can get here to here, risking to the top, but also you have the 77 even dollar level. So maybe some people long trap there. But believe me, stop is at the high of the day. We make a fresh high. We're getting that you know what out of Dodge. Okay, so there's Apple. Apple continues to go higher. Disappointing because yesterday captured a much better portion of this move by being long the bottom. Now Apple wants no part of giving you any kind of a dip buy. So we're in the right spot, but wasn't very efficient on Apple like we were yesterday and not able to capture sort of the magic that it had with our re-entry there in VWAP. And it was a keystroke error. So it is what it is, man. Like that's why that's quoted like a short sell. Like I kind of, is what it is. Like I punched out. I am not short the stock, but we should still be long this one or found our way back into it along with Amazon. Let's get to Adara, even Boeing going.
Speaking of weird here, a nice little pop for Zoom Communications. I'm seeing no news on ZM. And it's not a ton of volume either. It's under 1 million shares so far today, but ZM pushing to the upside here pretty nicely, guys. Back to you.
Market wants it today. Boeing's up 6.5%.
This is a zooming.
We like Boeing. But, yeah, I'm not getting it's not a trade for me.
Boeing's
so
at 6%.
I'm not celebrating anything on Boeing until they make money again. Like, for me, it's like it's a good entry long, but until they actually turn a profit, I'm not considering any real next moves or ringing to the register. I think that's going to be an event. It's been like 7 years?
Nvidia 50. Yeah, at first, they were saying that.
7 years since they have had a profitable
rough
quarter.
ride.
6? My bad, 6.
6 years.
Okay,
yeah,
6.
Get it right, Neil.
Still crap.
Yeah, no, obviously. Yeah, well, I mean, look, the stock is actually doing pretty good. I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty impressed with it. Okay, so I just wonder right now, like Nvidia is actually still up on the day, so I don't want to discount that. Generally speaking, I like to try to go long on some of these names. I wonder if we just got that whoosh again on Nvidia. I'm gonna try to support the long into 119. So that bottom right there is 118.74. So I'm going to wait to see if we do get a dip buy into some of these levels. But right now we're long at 89s. So let's see. I mean, the high we got for Nvidia, I'll take out 10% if we get into 120.10s or so, because it seems like that's sort of been some of the areas there. And then that high would be 37. And then that wick high is 60s. So we do have a good opportunity to get going here on Nvidia if we're right about this play. So there it is. Okay, so far there's the face slapper. So we did this yesterday, man. We went short. Well, yesterday we went long, nailed it. Then we went short, nailed it. Now we're trying to do the other way around here and just show some of the versatility again of what we're able to do. So there it goes. Let's see now if this can get up there. Okay, here we go. Nice move up now to 120.28 is where I'm offering. We just got missed there. I put it back. I actually didn't have it because I had a 20. Then we just put a 28 there right now as well. So far, so good here on the reload for Nvidia. And oh boy, we'll put another one at 25. There it is. We get the 25. Let's see if we can get through 28s and 30s there. Those are those levels. Now we wait for highs. Let's see if Nvidia can moon now. Pretty good risk to reward opportunity here for NVDA, I feel like. So let's try to hold it now. We've scalped out a little bit just to justify what we're doing. But let's see if it wants to get up the rest of the way. I mean, I want to buy a little bit more, but I don't want to get too excited until this 50 period. So like 119. I mean, my next bid is 119 quarters. So let's scalp out a little bit on that pop and see if we can't just like keep the momentum going here for NVDA longs. With scalping out the top, understanding that it's been a little bit of a roller coaster, to say the least, in these markets and in some of these names. Maybe we're finally topping out. We said 21.4, right? And I've given up on those cues, but maybe we shouldn't have. Maybe we should have waited. Maybe we're not getting up here and we just sort of got stopped out. We are going to be red on the futures. Well, you know, we talk about all the time, wow, we just nailed the futures. Well, we didn't nail it today. We went short too many times and got stopped out there the last time. So for right now, these triple Qs giving me a little bit of a nervous breakdown. But at the end of the day, we went back, not really, we went back long now onto Nvidia. Let's see if that works. It's only 25 pennies in the money right now. I'm going to scalp out 5% more here at 04, as it seems like we're having a little bit of problems breaking higher here on NVDA.
Yeah, well, I think it's got a chance, man. And just a unique trading group, good point. And I'm with you on the trend. And I always look for a setup for a trade entry. And that's, again, you have to have a setup. I could be in any price on Apple or at any price on Amazon, but at the end of the day, if you buy any price, you don't necessarily have a trade. So when Palantir set this up, it is just a simple 77 is resistance. There's the high. It wicked the high. My entry is in here on the break of this bar, and it's a stop out on the penny to that top. And then we're looking for a mean reversion. Joining the trend requires sort of a setup for me to get in. I'm not just sort of buying highs. I like a dip maybe into prior resistance. At this point now, that would be the 77 level, so I can look to be a joiner. The names that I like long that were part of the plan, one is doing a pullback right now. That's Apple. Amazon doesn't even want to care. So I want to go back to the well on these. Like every single time Apple has dipped, you've gotten a nice carry through on this trend. So it showed you first available red was still within pocket because it was a break of the prior high. Now we're going to look for a pullback in on this trend line. It's roughly 236. But remember, that's just a little, I'm just drawing that on the chart. It has to bounce anywhere in this range, and then we'll take it on the way back to the upside. These are the names that I want to be joining trend on because they were part of the original plan. Let's go to Adara, get the small cap recap, because I'm sure there's some of those that are moving as well.
Interesting support resistance area that we find ourselves at right now for the IWM. This is the 3-minute chart. So you can see here we use the support area of that 226 yesterday pre-market and during yesterday's session. We rejected a couple times this morning. Now we're actually trying to reject the slightly higher area here of that 226.50 or 80, just shy of 227. So slight incline potentially here for IWM. The next level of potential resistance would be that lower high going back to yesterday around that 227.40. So quick technical rundown on the IWM. Now in terms of small caps, there are quite a few today. We're going to start with SLXN. This one was one of the big runners early on today, and they have a very small float. From what I'm seeing, they have about a 220,000 share float, which is minuscule, but certain platforms will have different numbers. Basically, here reporting some tumor growth reduction, I guess, stats here from one of their treatment studies. So SLXN, again, with a very small float, pushing you to the upside on that. Then we have HEPA. Now, HEPA, it's interesting here. This, no catalyst for today. For HEPA, but just over 5 million share float. But back on Wednesday, they did drop here after announcing a $9 million public offering, so it could be pretty delayed rebound. It's a penny stock here, about 24 cents. Last but not least, we have Bright House Financial, BHF. Financial Times reported this morning that this company is looking to sell itself. So BHF, not a small cap in the typical sense, about a $3.2 billion market cap, but smaller and moving with a catalyst here, guys. Lots of smaller names to keep an eye on.
Yeah, there's always small cap, large cap. I mean, we'll tend to look at some of the larger names there. I mean, I did trade Rigetti today, which has been nice. We only have a little small piece left of RGTI. So again, like the name there, we talked about the increased volume in the pre-market. We wrote down 1250. It just happened to be pretty lucky to come into that level. So good on it, really, to get down there. But we were able to take it out, and just because it spiked up so early when we got in it, we got out of the majority, like 75% probably, in that first little bump up. And then we got another piece as we thought maybe that was, maybe if I zoom in a little bit, you'll be able to see a little bit better. Maybe even a little bit more. Right into here. So theirs is up into the 200 period. Then we thought maybe this could have been the high, so we get out another piece at 80. Then it comes into VWAP, and for us, that's, you got to get something out there. It's like an earnings play. We always talk about. By the way, right now, Neil, Nvidia is absolutely mooning right now, and our net is starting to go with it. So we got to get a little bit more out, and we'll talk about that as it goes. But there was the last piece out, not the last piece, our last piece out. As we broke above 13, it looks like it wants to go. But here we go again. So we're putting the numbers up again. We're at the highest spot we've been at all day here on Nvidia because we reversed it into the long. We did try the short, but then when we realized that's no good again, we talk about this all the time. It's that spidey sense, right? You got to have some of it or else you're lost. And that's what we do with trading. It's like you got to get that feeling that maybe things are turning around and you start to stick your neck out sometimes and make some plays, right? And that's what we did there. Just felt like it was trying to hold a little bit there. Now Nvidia goes back up to the upside. Remember, it was up 4% or so in the pre-market. I don't think we're going to get to that level or anything, but if we do, you know, we'll be here to trade it. So there goes Nvidia. Nice. There it is. Yes, sir. We get that 65. Oh, baby. This is starting to become something now, Neil, as it starts to go up. We might be up more today than potentially we were yesterday on Nvidia after we get out of this trade. So let's go. It's a nice move upside there for NVDA as we take a dollar club the other way right now. So some good trades today by Neil over there on Apple, Amazon, and then there it goes right now. Another dollar club winner. We took 4 earlier on Nvidia, stack on another one. 4 plus 1, that's 5 total dollars today, Neil, on Nvidia, and it looks like we're getting even more right now.
Yeah, big move to the upside. Oh, I just heard.
Smart.
We allowed to say, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I bought it yesterday too, Ramin bought it.
Yeah, Ramin buying some Nvidia, and that's what you have to do. I think when you're looking, if your time horizon is forever,
look at this trade,
then there's never a moment when it's bad to buy a stock like that. And the best time to do it is when there is blood in the water. I think that's 100%. So great look. It is what it is. It's just a fantastic look to buy it. If you don't, like, it was, to me, it was my #1 holding. I was like, I'm buying all the same stuff every single time. I got to buy something different. That's why I chose ARM. But that's a distinction without a difference. It is what it is here, but there hasn't been, I drew that trend line, it's now steeper on Apple. So all of a sudden the dips are getting less deep is the best way to think about it. So it's going to continue to go parabolic. And it's even crazier here on Amazon. Amazon just went like a different level of parabolic to the upside. So it doesn't even have, there's 2 red candles on Amazon, and we got out on one of them. So it's kind of like that was probably a chance to get in, but at the time when I looked at what the market was doing, I kind of liked it in the other direction. So I don't want to chase it here yet. I don't want to be buying any of these tops, but I think these are the names that are looking long and strong. Bitcoin is making a move higher. It is looking pretty good, and I want to go back to the longs that we liked. I just cannot be chasing these tops. When I look at what might give you a little bit of juice that hasn't gone yet, well, there's some names out there that could.
On 119.75.
AMD still only about VWAP. We had AMD underneath 113.8. It gave you some 4s, then broke out the top. The second it broke VWAP, we got out of it. It's trying to do its stair step to the upside as well. It has yet to break out, so it could be a little bit of a late chaser. The other name worth watching, and we're going to go to Darren in a quick little second. We had mentioned Boeing at 180. Obviously, we're not going to get 180, but Boeing can still set us up here at VWAP. So that's a name that we already like to the long side. We're just not going to get the 180 level. Maybe 181 was close enough. But I'll look at 184 here. So I'm going to add Boeing to the list with Amazon and Apple as it's absolutely flying higher and higher. Adara?
Be wary here of DKNG and PENN, some of these gambling and online sports betting related stocks. Apparently, Indiana right now is voting here on an amendment of a bill. This amendment would raise sports betting tax rate, and the goal would be to raise this online sports betting tax rate within the state of Indiana from 9.5% to 20%, so more than double it. I'm seeing some comments on this in X, so I'll keep an eye if we hear any updates. But Indiana right now apparently holding a meeting with regards to potentially raising this sports betting tax rate within the state, guys.
All right, thank you. I mean, I've always liked DraftKings. We can have a quick look at that. But right now, obviously, you guys know that we are long NVIDIA. And right now, $1.50 in the money and starting to go to the upside. You're welcome, Asimo, as well, right there for the RGTI shout. I mean, there you go. So you made your whole day buying in at $12.50 and now relaxing. join the club over there. So we'll floss it off there. So thank you, Asimo, for that. We've added to our stockpile now because we've been buying Nvidia on these dips. So yes, sir, you are right, Ryan. Nvidia is pumping. We are long right here at 119.76 off of VWAP. I was waiting to buy more. I mean, I told you my next dip buy was 19.25. Right back into here, into 119. So there it goes, man. $1.50 upside move there for this name. As Neil said, you can do one of two things. You can wait for levels, or you got to find names. Like we could have, like Neil was saying, not wanting, and again, you know, we talk about the different styles, not wanting to buy tops or not wanting to buy anything. At the end of the day, right? Like if you just bought Amazon 10 minutes ago at the top, you're now $2 in the money. If you bought Amazon on the 240 break, you're now 30 cents in the money. So, you know, it's like there goes another 2%. Like when these names go, they're going. And right now, there she goes again. And just like missing out on Apple, it's like you didn't actually miss it if you just bought it in the last 5 minutes. But right now, if you're going to be specific, you got to wait for prices. And we did that with Nvidia. I mean, right now, Neil, it is a $1 and a $2 winner. And again, we didn't rest on anything. We changed our mind. We said we like the Nvidia long there. We took it. It was at VWAP. And like we always say all the time, and I think this is true in life, you know, like you got to take shots at things in order to get rewarded. So we flipped up our game plan again on Nvidia today. Yesterday it was the exact same thing, but just the other way around. Today we've been very, very patient. We're very, very calm. We've got Nvidia, Rigetti, and then we lost on the TQs. So that kind of sucks. But I mean, as the market continues to go higher and higher and higher, we kind of stay away from this short. The market was down at one point. Now you're up over 1%. Huge move back from yesterday. Right now, even in the ES now up 0.5. And yesterday's only up market. And this is what we've been buying. We talked about buying the diamonds, which of course is the Dow Jones. So we were talking about buying that. This was one of the only indexes up yesterday, was the Dow. So you can see right here, they're getting right back to all-time highs, as is every market right now. I mean, this has been quite the movement higher.
What was crazy is it was actually yesterday on the S&P, it wasn't a record number, but it was one of the highest percentage days of advancers versus decliners yesterday in the S&P.
Oh boy.
Which gives you an idea of what the move was like yesterday in terms of what was going down and what was not. But what is not going down, like I said, is Amazon. On a 3, I'm just, at this point, next red candle on a 3 is going to be our entry point. Wherever it happens to show us support, if it's on the trend line, great. If it's not, then maybe we just have to buy it wherever it happens to be. But this is now absolutely flying. Boeing is still going. Now it looks like it's going to be breaking higher. So Boeing's CEO is talking right now. So maybe let's I'm going to back off this one and maybe focus on Amazon and Apple until the Boeing CEO is not talking, saying things randomly live. I don't necessarily like that action when you have that going on. So Amazon, Apple looking fantastic. Palantir is just continuing to ride higher and higher and higher. And then when I was mentioning AMD, well, the market just broke the highs. AMD hasn't broken the opening range yet. It's distinctly different, at least at this point. If this continues, I'll probably wait for confirmation underneath VWAP because I think you can stand to be patient. I think that's going to bode well for us here. Need confirmation that this cannot hold on to VWAP. But that's the one stock that still feels like a short, although Holo is in a different category, being a small cap name. So still going to be looking for that one on the other side. But even as I said, there was a potential red candle in Amazon. It goes right back in. It goes right back into the highs. That dip maybe 20 or 30 cents. Like I said, for me, I'm not buying these kind of tops. Not at 10:30. That's not the time of day that I want to be buying those highs. There's plenty of day left for Amazon if it wants to continue like this. But yeah, I probably should have gotten more than $1.30 out of it. That's for sure. Let's go over to Adara for the crypto update. Not much, actually.
For the crypto update, just a series of quick news updates because there's so much to look at today. For one, the information reporting just now that PDD owned Temu, or I guess PDD runs Temu here. Information reporting that FTC is questioning Temu about Amazon pricing policies. So keep an eye on AMZN and PDD. FTC apparently looking into Temu. We also have here CrowdStrike on watch, only getting a couple 3-minute candles so far today, announcing this morning that they achieved 100% detection, protection, and accuracy in this advanced security ransomware test. So apparently CRWD doing quite well at new all-time highs above $400. And then really quickly on Boeing as well, because I know Neil was talking about the Boeing CEO talking. Actually, it's the CFO, and it's during their conference call. So be aware that conference call, as I mentioned earlier, is still going on, started at 10 a.m. Nothing huge, but I think this is of note. The CFO saying that the company is not going to be providing formal 737 delivery guidance for the year. So keep an eye on that here as well. And with that in mind, apologize for the interruption. Now we will get into the world of crypto, because BTC here still trying to charge higher. We had that break below 100,000 pretty briefly yesterday, as of yesterday morning, then came right back above. As of right now, near day's highs for BTC, hanging out around that 103 halves area. And we have some crypto-related catalysts as well. We know Doge was moving around earlier today, basically flat on the day, but it was moving on that 15-minute chart, basically with some reports that Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency is going to be working with blockchain to help with government efficiency. So interesting note there. Then we have comments from the CEO of Ripple, whose name is Brad Garlinghouse. He actually said that Trump winning the election is profound for crypto, and that he did actually confirm previously reported discussions with Donald Trump that he apparently had about XRP becoming a U.S. strategic reserve asset, though he clarified he thinks that should there be a reserve, it should include a variety of different crypto, not just XRP or Bitcoin. So interesting stuff there. And then we'll take a look here at what other Bitcoin names are doing. XRP up 8% today, Ethereum up 2%, Solana up 1%, BNB up 1%. A lot of these non-Ripple names are just slightly positive on the day. Nothing super significant, guys. Back to you.
Righty, thanks, Dara. Yeah, we always talk about
those
Bitcoin,
two
but
make the
obviously
most
there's
sense.
going to be other names.
Why would you hold a
involved there,
reserve in
so-
anything?
I didn't even think they were even thinking about Ripple or anything like that.
If you think about, like, look, Bitcoin obviously
good-
makes
good
sense.
alternative.
Limited supply. Ripple makes some sense, obviously, because of the transactions that are already going on with them.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the other alts, like, I just don't get that. It doesn't make any sense for me.
No, I don't think eventually.
Why a government would do that. But so
there, but
on the exact moment that Adara mentioned that Temu Amazon thing, Amazon flushed the 240 level, like on point. It just, the first big pullback since literally 933 is happening here on Amazon. So if it's doing it this heavily, if you're not short it, let it pull into like a 38, 37, or maybe even a mean reversion. Like that's...
So you're waiting for a 3-minute though, you said close.
Yeah, you need to see some kind of a 3-minute close. Like that's not what it was doing earlier. There was a seed change at 240. It's the second that Temu news did hit on Amazon. So I think it's a little bit distinctly different. So that's where we have to be a little bit more patient. Like I think Apple's holding the trend obviously a little bit better as we speak. So there's still those two. And then I just mentioned AMD struggling to hold on to VWAP. AMD doesn't look as good here. The good news for AMD is it's bouncing off the 52-week low. That's, I think about it, but lower highs being put in. Could not hold prior day close, wick to 115. Now you're putting in a bit of a lower high. You put one more lower high in, and you've got yourself a little bit of a trend. Yeah, there's RNAS for anybody. This is halted to the upside, and the tap is 1191, so it's indicating it's going to open underneath the local high from a few days ago here on RNAZ. That's a blue sky if it happens to break out that local high. So kind of a flat open, but worth watching as RNAS, if it does blast. This has already halted multiple times, and that level is a big one. It's probably trapped a few shorts, or at least gotten some weak hands out. After halting down at 850, it's about to break out the top, RNAZ. Worth a watch for everybody. My focus on Amazon, Apple, and AMD right now.
All right, everyone, make sure you do hit the like and the subscribe, as we are here live every single day, and we go in the midday coming up in just 25 minutes with both Joe and Sharif. Joe can talk about his 117 long. I don't know where he got out. He's taking a break right now. We'll talk to him when he gets back in. All right, and then Sharif will be back in as well very, very soon. All right, so just for Nvidia here. This is the only stock I'm worried about, because Rigetti, we have less than 5% left, and Nvidia, we have exactly 10% left. So as you can see, all the way up, we're able to cash it out. And I mean, after this cash out, we will be about 20% less than what we had made yesterday on Nvidia. And yesterday for me was one of the better days, obviously, as we continue to talk about how we traded yesterday as well as today. Coming right back into 121. I like that 122 high coming up there. We already got a piece out there. So we have 10% left. I do have an offer. Actually, no, I don't. We don't have any offers right now. We actually just got filled there at the 200 period at 121. So my next level with the last 10% was trying to see if if it wants to go. I mean, we already bought VWAP. I do have an out of 75% of my position left, so I guess 7.5%. If we break right around here, that 120 and change, but I actually leveled it up because I don't want to give too much back. 120.50. If we break this shelf, and we've tweeted this out, go find me at Trader TV Sean, but right into here, right now, right there, if we break through 120.50, then we'll get out. So this has been quite the play. We're now $1.50 in the money on this play. And hey, if it comes back up into 70s or 80s, we'll take out that 2.5% and then leave this last piece for that 120.50. So hey, maybe we do get this upside that we talked about. And remember, like Neil just talked about it. I know he's not long yet, but you know, right into here, Amazon's pulling back into some levels. So some names that you like that may be strong there. We talked about DocuSign. I actually bought this name in the 50s, believe it or not, on Buyout Rumor. You can go grab our guy Mateo from the back. He knows all about the play on this one. But at the end of the day, it doesn't look like I'm not in it anymore. When it didn't get bought out, we were out of this in the 60s. But right now, DocuSign, I didn't realize it went up to 110. Having a great day, up 6%, bouncing off that $90. So, you know, AI can't do documents the way DocuSign can because you're looking for those signatures, you're looking for those official marks, right? So, all right, here comes Nvidia. I'm actually gonna take out a little piece right now as it's at 47s. So there it is, yes sir, nice little move up there on Nvidia, another $1.70. Sharif, we took $4 short, now we're $1.50 long, but your boy Joe beside us also had a dinger, so we'll talk about those later, but for right now, Neil's either got Amazon or something on his mind, so let's go over to Neil.
Yeah, we got the dip here on Amazon. Is it just held on to 239 even? Who's that sitting at 50s? Oh, never mind. I was sitting at 60 and someone was at 56 for a rather large lot size. I canceled and threw an order in front of them, which is like shaving in front of them. That's what we call it. And they got taken out. So I just got taken somehow with it. So we're going to give it back into this prior bar low and see if we can't get back into the highs. Now remember, 240 was a big resistance spot on these bad boys. But hey, if we're locked and loaded, ready to go, then traders, listen up. E-Signal, first month, free. That's right, waiving fees. So trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to the elite trading experience. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. This platform, it's got everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict the markets with back testing, very crucial, important part of your trading strategies. Reliable real-time data, which is a key. You want to be able to be secure in the fact that you're going to be able to execute when the market is moving the absolute most. It's all in one platform, so don't miss out. Make sure you execute your best trades now. Scan the QR code you see in front of you. Check the link in the description. Big shout out to E-Signal. Step up your game. And hey, when those market levels are breaking, maybe you want to look at those tick charts, which I think are valuable, or the second charts like Obi does. So Amazon's the only thing we're into. And we'll go back to Adara because it's already time for Sector Watch. Most of them are probably up.
Actually, Neil, most of them are down, with the exception of tech. So just like yesterday, where we had almost every sector but the tech names, mostly to the upside, at least in the morning. Now we have most of the non-tech sectors sharply to the downside. Consumer durables getting hit pretty hard here. We know GM down on earnings. TSLA, actually the only red Meg 7 name right now, and it's dragging those names down with it. Utilities really weak here as well, as we continue to have some of these utilities names processing the AI switch up with DeepSeek, because you know utilities were really poised to benefit from that due to the use of energy and powering a lot of these data centers. Energy minerals, speaking of which, to the downside. Consumer non-durables to the downside. Producer manufacturing to the downside. Consumer services, with the exception of RCL, which reported this morning, to the downside as well. And then we have our tech sectors, which, as mentioned, are pretty positive on the day. Retail trade also a little bit mixed. Amazon bringing up this sector, which, by the way, was yesterday's winner, bar none, in terms of upside on the day. So we'll take a look here at these two tech sectors, though. Microsoft, Meta, Google, Apple, and Nvidia, all of the Mag 7s within these two sectors sharply to the upside. We also think CRM, Oracle, CrowdStrike made a new all-time high here on some positive ransomware tests. Really quickly within these sectors as well, I want to talk about Boeing, because they did have a little bit of a drop there from their high of day above 188. Basically, CEO Kelly Ortberg during their earnings call, saying that they're going to be having to work on fixed pricing strategies because that they cannot declare victory on it as of right now. So sounds like that earnings call is wrapping up. If I hear anything else, I will let you know. But yes, even though the day is up, a lot of these sectors cannot stay the same, guys.
Yeah, okay. So obviously not on a day where the market's having a rebound day, you get a little bit excited. So I hadn't looked at a sector board. So I think a lot of times you look at your quote board, and your quote board is a representation of what you are following. And when mine looks very, very good, I tend to, think that's what the market is doing. Yeah. But obviously not everything is going to be going. What I can tell you is not the same is Amazon on this move. So remember at 240, Temu, there was that Temu story. I'm just going to move my trail to that prior bar because this is distinctly different. So I need to have this down. It'll essentially be break even. But I'm looking over at Apple versus Amazon at this moment. And look at that little wick top. The bid is not what it was. It did chew through that big order. But if it's going to put this wick, not break the high, then I want to give it a tighter stop. If it breaks the high, you carry it into the high of the day. So that's the plan of action here with Amazon. It's just a comparison play. And I feel like Apple is just linear to the upside. Like that is a very straight, steady trend line on Apple, the likes of which you don't usually see. So this one, if you can find a dip buy, there should be some better, tighter entries for them. I'm still leaning that AMD is not along. I'm not believing you. I don't believe you, AMD. Because this one, it's hold on to VWAP for now, so I'm not into it yet, but you have a little bit of a head and shoulders forming. I think if you break down this low under VWAP, then I'm taking this one short. And that might be a lunchtime play. Who knows? Like that could set up in 5 minutes. That could set up in 15 minutes. It could set up at 2 o'clock, and we're talking about it in the afternoon show. But AMD's still down 0.7% when the market's up. It's underneath the opening range, and it just put in, or it's trying to put in a lower high. So I'm not done with this one. We did take a swing at it. Scouts them out for a win, and then it broke VWAP. So Amazon long, Apple, we're still looking for that next entry point. We want to stick to the names that we liked for the long side originally here as the wave in big cap tech continues up. It's not everywhere. And shout out to CrowdStrike. What a day Crowd's having.
Yeah, should we talk about cybersecurity there? We did have CrowdStrike going ham as well. Look, right now, I want to thank everybody for watching. Over 8,500 of you watching. If you have not, let's see if we can get it. We only have 15 minutes. Let's see if we can get to 2,000 on the likes right there. I think we can do that, right? We have that poll up, tons of votes on that one. 8,500 of you. If you have not done that, please do it. I think that we're giving you lots of trades here, lots of opportunity, and lots of opportunity to be involved with our midday show coming up as well with both Sharif and Joe. They'll talk about small caps, large caps, middle caps, no cap, all that kind of stuff as we go. But right there, Nvidia, we got it another one. So we did get that 50 fill, like we said. We are now down to 8% of Nvidia as we took out some there as well, getting less and less on this name. And we're about to get stopped out if we do break back down below 50. So I'm going to assume your Amazon just got stopped out there, or maybe not. But right now, Nvidia is pulling.
Not yet.
Yeah, so I was going to say it's probably just a chip-related name. I like, obviously,
no, it's
AMD short.
Trying to pull back.
Yeah, the market's not really doing much,
we missed a better short.
All right, so there it goes. So I thought we were getting stopped out of Nvidia right there. All right, yeah, that did not happen for me. So a breakthrough 50 there. I'm going to punch out some right now for Nvidia. So we actually didn't do, I don't know what happened. I'll have to find out what happened with the stop. I think it's because we just got some out there. I think it's because we took some pieces out there, so we probably didn't have enough shares left to punch out. So we'll have to manually punch it out. So there it is, man. We take ho-hum, $1.50 or so as we break lower than that as our maximum. And there it goes right now. We now hold 1%, 2% left of Nvidia as it falls right back into VWAP. And here it comes, coming right back in. And I guess we were pretty right about the Qs, just the timing was bad. We said 21.4. It went to 21.450 right now. So we missed that, and we're red on the futures. So we'll have to regroup and figure out what we're doing with that. But for right now, there's a little bit of a pullback into the 50 period moving average. So we can go back over to Neil. I see you flipped over into AMD.
Well, Amazon hadn't trailed out when you said it, but it was a distinction without a difference. It did lose that support bid of the prior bar. And we're back. AMD's underneath VWAP, so we're back into that. And as literally as I got into it, when it broke that prior low, people were talking in the chat. So I'm going to I'm going to throw the stop, and then I'll get to what's happening over there on Intel, because everything that I was saying about AMD being relatively weak is like Intel is that and then some. I don't know, like there's, well, I mean, I actually messaged Adair. I'm like, is there something news on Intel that I don't know about? But no, does there have to be? Probably not. Down 2.5%. That's the weakest chip name. So obviously I had said AMD was looking relatively weak. That's clearly not right. So we're shorting into AMD, but if you get any shot at VWAP on Intel, that would be a nice little trend continuation for them. Apple still looks okay. I mean, look at how well this is holding trend on Apple. If it closes holding the trend line, I mean, it is what it is. Like, it's crazy, but it's about to do another 3-minute, even after a pullback closing above the trend line. If it does that, it's like, why not take a look at what has been an explosive long for 2 days in Apple? 4%. The only thing that gives me pause for concern in Apple, you just went in 2 days from the 200 period to the 50 period, which is like $20 here on Apple. So there's some overhead resistance at $240, but it's not at 240 yet. So until it gets there, I'm not as concerned. But I kind of think the 240 is going to be some trouble here for Apple. As long as it closes this one.
Boy.
Yeah, it's closing this one above. So it looks like Apple is trying to give you the reload on trend.
So I know Neil went short AMD there. They don't have to be the same. I went long Nvidia down here. So let's just wait. I'm going to give it to VWAP, which is basically right here at 120. So this is not going to be a very long trade. We'll try to average some more down into that level. We just put back on 10%. So now we have 12% of what we had right here. So I'm not like absolutely in love with this. I think the short might be something there at some point. So we'll wait, but I'm going to get a piece out at 50. If we can get that 25 cents, we'll do that. Actually, no, I didn't even do that. I'm waiting at 120.60s. Hopefully we can get that 30-cent bump there, and then 121 to the upside. So I'll go long Nvidia, and we'll wait to see what happens. I did have another name. Oh, yeah. Wow. Wow is all that I can say about this one, man. We'll go diamond hands on this, as we've sold none of our Palantir over the last couple months. You know, those of you that had weak hands down here, $65, $66, it is what it is. I mean, I think, like, if you are going to cash out, there's nothing wrong with doing that. But, like, up here into $80, I feel like right now there wouldn't be. Like, this name is up now, and we've picked this name. I don't know who's winning that little tournament of ours, but like, this name went huge to the upside right now, and you're coming back into a fault area, like between 80 to 84. It's gonna have to bust through there. That's such a huge move. Like, Palantir was just $70 yesterday. It's $80 today, like on nothing. There's no catalyst, there's no nothing. So I would just say cautionary tale. Right there. I see you got, did your AMD cash?
No, AMD, well, okay, if I did decide to take it, but I did not, because that was never the plan, to get a small scalp trade on it, load up. So it came in the money. It could have given you like a quarter or something like that, but I'm risking this break to the prior bar high, which is about 30 cents. So I'm looking first target's going to be down here. We're taking before at 13.4. So that's the structure. And again, it's just risk to reward thing. Break down there. That's your prior bar high. Apple. All right. So Apple, my VWAP will be a little bit off because I have it shouldn't matter too much, but there's a little bit of a gap. But that's pre-market action, so it shouldn't really matter. But we did get in on this prior bar hold. It held on to the trend line for most of the day, and then kind of tagged. It's hard to see with the scaling. But we tagged the highs just now, which is 238.80 on Apple. So we're going to give it to the prior bar low, see if we can't continue the trend there. Amazon is continuing to go as well. Super, super strong on AMZN. And I just saw it was going to go there. Anu View, RNAS. That was that halter a second ago. Why does it go to Blue Ocean? Because it's alphabetical. So I'm going to do this one for you, RNAZ. And we'll pop it up on a black chart so you guys can. This one just reopened, looking like it might rug pull. So I'd be a little bit cautious here. Like, it reopened, wicked the top, and is pulling back underneath support. So looking like it might give a little bit of a rug pull. As a matter of fact, it's happening now. If we do have a halt to the downside, it would still at least be above VWAP. But this is why I don't like chasing these ones when they do that gap. You kind of want it earlier. When it broke that 12, that was the key level on that daily, RNAZ. not something that I am looking to trade. I think we want to stick to the big cap names that have been working for us, the Amazons, the Apples of the world. We'll try our reload again here on Apple, but it's getting very tight up at the top here. So like scalping this like 30 to 50 cent range off the high.
All right, I think we're getting ready to go over to Adara potentially for Money Talks as Palantir. It's funny because we had written this down here yesterday into the $79, $80 area. I don't have it today. I didn't think we would get there, but maybe that fade off of 80 looks like that's working out. The high of the day on Palantir, 79.50. There goes Nvidia breaking through 120. So we will take that out right there as it loses VWAP and quickly in and quickly out, as we talked about what we were putting back on. So, not much. We still will wind up more yesterday than today so far on Nvidia, but we didn't take that reversal until later on. So let's wait to see now what happens with Nvidia fading off of that bottom. But again, that 121 seems to have been something there, right where that 200 period moving average is. Nice little fall back in there for NVDA. All right, Adara, we're ready for you.
It's looking increasingly toppish here on this DXY daily chart after we did make that topping tail candle just into that 110 level on January 13th. Now we're continuing to make these lower highs, lower lows, currently trading just below 108s for that US dollar. Now, of course, the biggest economic data event of the week is going to be tomorrow. In just over 24 hours, we will have the January FOMC meeting, the first meeting of the year. We have very low expectations here that there will be a rate cut. As Brendan mentioned earlier, there's really no cuts priced in until potentially May. I was also seeing some people saying potentially July as well. So regardless, it seems like we're going to have to wait a little while before we get a rate cut. But of course, Fed Chair Jerome Powell and the FOMC will give us a little bit of color commentary and context on that tomorrow. The decision will come out at 2 p.m. Then at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow, we will have comments there from Fed Chair Jerome Powell. So you can check that out with us live tomorrow. Now here in terms of other US dollar related things, a little bit more tangential, but speaking of money, there was a lot of money that went into short sellers' pockets for Nvidia yesterday. I was seeing some data here from Ortex. Apparently, Nvidia's short sellers made $6.7 billion in profit yesterday due to that drop on Nvidia, which was almost 17% yesterday. So Nvidia short sellers making a nice amount of money there yesterday as well to kind of end our Money Talk segment on a bit of a different note. Back to you.
Yeah, Nvidia short sellers made money. Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
We were one of them.
No, but like when they say that, they're usually not meaning day trading.
Oh no.
And that's the sort of the thing.
Our
it's
numbers
like,
won't be included in that $6 billion.
But it's like great. But then how much were they losing on the way up?
Right, exactly. That's why it's all. I mean, it's a rigged market, right? I mean, they say you saw Apple go straight down. Now you see Apple going straight up. It's the same people that downgraded are the same people that are buying it now, putting these programs up right back up to the upside. The market is what it is. The sooner you realize that, the more you'll be able to sleep there at night. Just
buy the panic dips and
just
on the
buy
good
the best companies.
And
It's like CrowdStrike, man. I wasn't even involved in this thing until when they had their huge mistakes and they rolled out a bad piece of software, and that's where we just sat there and bought this thing, haven't sold a dime of this. Get this opportunity. And again, it was already best of breed in certain aspects of, I own PanW for 25 years, but this name, again, with a lot of some of the new talk about the new cybersecurity, a lot of people loved us some CrowdStrike. So when that came back to the downside, I was like, all right, well, we'll take a shot. And I think that's a perfect example as Adara brought us some CrowdStrike news earlier on in the day as that one getting right back to highs. Excuse me. All right, so right there, that's 120. I'm going to try to play underneath VWAP now with with Nvidia. I understand we are going to be playing with fire here because I don't want to just keep going back and forth, because that's how you wind up giving everything back. We got to be very, very patient with that. It just did break below there. So I don't know. It looks like the Nasdaq wants to hold this 21.4. I almost thought that we could have broke that level downside again. I was either going to go long the futures, or I was thinking about, again, playing some weakness in a name that we know has a chance. So for me, if we're right about the short, I mean, this is a 118 fill. This is like a 117-ish area. Just to give this like 30, 40 cents to the upside, I thought was worth it. It looks like it might not be worth it right now because it's coming right back in. So let's try one more spot here. And then the stop out was going to be basically around here, but we're right there right now. So we'll take an opportunity to average in for the first time right now and then use 120.50 as our out. What looks like we'll take an L here on this last little piece. We're short. Oh, we didn't get the full fill there. Okay, well, we are short right now. It's too bad. We didn't get our full shares there, or else we would have a much better price. We're still short at 119.60s right now. We got missed up there at 120.25.
Yeah, someone here is, so Apple's at 239 even, but someone keeps swiping it. Every time it's swipe or no swiping, every time it gets back above 239, it gets to like 8, 9, 10, and then someone swipes it back down to like 98, 99. So I'm kind of thinking if it loses the 90 level, jump out and look for a dip buy. And if it breaks away from this 10 level, just look for it to maybe pop to the next even dollar. So I'm going to play that game. He just did it again. So he just got up to like the 10s and someone swiped it down. So it's a very tight range. Apple obviously has done some things today, up that 4%. So now it's starting to break away from that 10 zone. All right, so now we can throw the trail underneath 238.80 or 90 and see how far we can go. Amazon, by the way. Yeah, so Amazon's at another high. Yeah. Amazon, we did trail out break even, but that ends up being a wick bottom on Amazon. Wicked it out, and then it's right back in 2%. It's okay. So Apple's up 4% and Amazon's up 2%. But right now, Amazon is a little bit more parabolic and stronger, as opposed to Apple, which is like it's slowly grinding higher in the last couple of minutes, and Amazon just looking a little bit more parabolic. AMD still right at VWAP. At the end of the day, the market's still up. I'll probably take at least one more swing on this, but it's still putting in lower highs. The hold under VWAP still hasn't really happened yet on advanced micro devices or advanced money destroyer, as it is sometimes called around here. For Intel, yeah, you might not get to VWAP. Market's at the highs, and you can't even pop into VWAP to give a short. But I still like this one as well to the south side, even if you're able to grab it. So Apple's still looking good. Amazon, I guess we'll have to weasel our way on back into it at some point here. But those are the two longs that I still am favoring. And there comes that. See, that seller came right back in on Apple, and it did not hold that 239. So we'll look for, like right now, it's a 238 to 239 range. So we'll play that as long as it wants to mess around here with that dollar range. I'm okay with playing it up at the top. I just don't want to be holding any longs up here into VWAP. So we'll just try to scalp this 50 cent to $1 range on Apple and look for a bigger move maybe a little bit later on in the day.
So IBIT, we didn't talk too much about crypto here yet, but IBIT is down to the 200-period moving average again off of a nice bounce to the upside, obviously off that 58 level. We sort of talked about that earlier on in the show, and then we get to 59, and then it's like, okay, $1 range, right back into the 200 period, with crypto still holding out okay right now to the upside. So I would definitely have a quick look at that, potentially buying some dips now in IBIT. I mean, right back to also on the 5-minute chart, getting some support from an upward trending 50-period moving average. So that's a good support level, plus 58. So yeah, like 58, holding that to like 57.90 or so, probably a decent spot right now for the crypto name, or BTC, which would be IBIT. Mara, another one of concern as well here. All right, it's past 11 o'clock, so I want to say thank you to everybody as Nvidia continues to go higher right now. XOM, there's lots of names moving around. Uber as well that we haven't looked at. Mara not doing too much. Nvidia just touched 121. So, all right, thank you so much. Good show there. Good show. We'll be back at 2 p.m. Yeah, I know. I looked over. I was like, what's 11 o'clock already? All right, so there's a little bit of crypto talk. I'm sure these guys will be all over that as well. So from everybody here, thanks to Bears vs. Bulls, Ramin, Fabian, Andre, Brendo, Dara, of course, and all of you. Thank you for watching. Oh, did we get to that 2,000 here quickly? Yes, we did. So I want to say thank you so much to everybody out there as we get the 2,000 likes. So thank you so much for that. And let's, without any further ado, flip it over to the two gentlemen to my left in the midday show.
Get them.
Ciao.